Welcome into Sports Time on a Fight Song Friday, a Football Friday here at Sports Time. Opening up with the University of Washington fight song,
Wow.
Bow Down to Washington.
I don't know if I've ever heard a bar of it.
Brett, I assumed that I had at some point, just heard it. And then I was playing it earlier to make sure I had a good version of it. And I was like, I've never heard this song in my life. So, yeah, so there's Washington fight song for you.
We'll have USC at 4 o'clock. Fight on. I've heard it, and it's great. But go Husky Dogs.
Go Huskies.
You could be pulling mine and the listener's leg. That was really Center College's fight song, wasn't it?
That's right. Oh, yeah.
That was really Carson Newman's fight song, wasn't it?
Well, that was Kentucky Wesleyan after their big win against Louisville last week. It's Kentucky Wesleyan's
Way
fight
to go.
song.
Way to go.
No,
that was Indiana
Washington.
State's fight
That's
song.
Right. That's
in
right.
honor of Larry Bird. Right?
Exactly. Nope. It was Washington, UW. Bow Down to Washington, the name of their fight song. If anybody
Go
was,
Husky Dogs.
Was
big
curious
one on the left coast. What a quarterback matchup.
Oh, it's a great one. I mean, you've got the quarterback that's getting all the praise from the NFL, the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, and a guy that has put together a Heisman-like campaign this year and has really kind of led that offense this year. So, yeah, I mean, you're right, and we've seen a couple of really good quarterback matchups in the Pac-12, including both of these quarterbacks. I remember a couple weeks ago the Oregon and Washington game where we got to see Bo Nix and Michael Penix. But now to be able to see Caleb Williams versus Michael Penix, it's going to be a fun one tomorrow.
You don't think the last few weeks has done anything to Caleb Williams' NFL draft stock, do you?
I personally don't. I have started to see some people putting out mock drafts and different things that have him as the second quarterback taken or the second player taken. I don't feel that way. I think he's done everything he can. I know there's been a couple of interceptions that were kind of costly these past couple of weeks, but I still think he's far and away the best quarterback in college football right now. Certainly a pro-ready quarterback, and I think one of the best pro-ready players in college football right now.
I do too. My confidence isn't shaken, but I am worried about this. I'm worried about many more games like the last couple.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of bad habits developing.
Interesting. It could. And you're right. I mean, we've seen, what was it, last week against Cal, and it was kind of came down to the wire, and they needed a big drive late to win that game. So, I mean, you don't want to be comfortable in these, close games and the way we've seen USC play this year. I don't think anybody thought we would see that. But I still have him as number one. But like I said, I have seen some people kind of starting to change from that and put other people in front of him in their mock drafts.
So many good games this weekend. We'll talk about them all, but there's a big game tomorrow afternoon at the Fairgrounds with the hometown team, the Memphis Tigers, playing, and we know the subject matter this week, and we both have weighed in on it, and plenty of people have put in their 2 cents against what we think and what we say. I just would say this. I know I'm prepared. Look, I have faced a lot of Mondays through the years on these airwaves. I know what's coming at me, at you, at a lot of the defenders.
Sure.
If tomorrow afternoon, that's a loss. I know what's coming if next week at Charlotte. If tomorrow's a win and next week at Charlotte is a loss. I know what's coming if if tomorrow's a win, next week at Charlotte's a win, and there's a loss to SMU at home. I know what's coming if tomorrow's a win, next week at Charlotte's a win, at home against SMU's a win, and there's a loss on the Friday after Thanksgiving at Temple. I know what's coming.
Yeah.
I know what's coming if there's a win tomorrow, a win next week, a win against SMU, and a win against Temple, and a loss to Tulane in the AAC championship game.
Yeah.
I'm not going through that whole list again. I know what's coming if they win all the way out and lose in the bowl game. Whenever the next Ryan Silverfield loss is, whether it's tomorrow or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 6 weeks at a bowl game or whenever it is, our opening game next year in September or third week in September next year, I know what's coming. It's going to be a high I told you so.
Yeah.
And I would just say to that person, okay, you're going to feel better. You're going to get one in on the guy or guys on the radio. I hope that makes you feel good. And especially if you call yourself a Tiger fan.
Right.
I hope that makes you feel good, that you're ready for that next loss, whenever it is. Maybe it's to say, I called it weeks ago. They weren't firing him after winning last week. I don't know what you expect. No. They're not firing him after winning or losing tomorrow. I don't know what you expect. So if that's going to make you feel better, okay, that's fine. And also this, I think it shows how selfish some people are. I want my way, or I'm not going to another game, and I want my team to lose until I get my way. Frankly, I don't want to be associated with people like that.
No. I'm in the business of let's win as many games as possible, and let's root them on. No, I think you brought up a good point of nobody was going to fire. No team is going to fire any coach after a win, unless there's just something crazy that goes on.
Unless he commandeers the team bus and he's drunk.
Yes. But nobody's just going to fire a coach after a win. I would be surprised if any coach fires or any AD fires a coach after a winning season, and we're already seeing that this year, unless something tragic happens. You're looking at a team that is going to finish over 500, and I can assure you, in a couple of weeks, Brett, I've watched Charlotte, and I don't want to make any Mad Dog Russo like takes about that game in next Saturday, but you should feel pretty good about Memphis winning that game against Charlotte. And if they win that, then you can guarantee a winning season. There's just nobody that's going to fire a coach after a winning season, again, unless something crazy was to happen that does not relate to on-the-field football coaching. I don't necessarily get it, but a great opportunity for the Tigers tomorrow against a South Florida team that is really. Me and Dave were talking about it this morning. This is about the third week in a row where you're talking about an opponent and you say pretty good offense, very creative offense, fun offense to watch. Defensively, though, they leave a lot to be desired. I think gives up about 444 yards of total offense to teams they play. So it's going to be the same thing that we've seen UAB and North Texas the past 2 weeks. But a great opportunity at home, homecoming game for the Tigers tomorrow. It should be a lot of fun. Weather looks beautiful for tomorrow afternoon.
I told you pre-show, quite possibly the best 2 o'clock kickoff time forecast for a first Saturday in November game in Memphis history.
Oh, yeah. And really, I've got the –
if you want to dig through the weather books in the past, go right ahead. But I'm going to say tomorrow at 2 is ideal. Homecoming, a 6-2 team, a team that can still play in a conference championship game, and this much tumult this week. I'm at a loss.
Yeah, no, I don't much understand it, but hopefully the Tigers, despite all of the outside noise, can continue their winning ways. And like you said, that weather looks great. I'm looking right now. I've got the top 25 schedule up for tomorrow, and looking at some of these other forecasts, obviously different parts of the country, 51, 48, 64, 54, 56, and I saw them post either earlier today or yesterday, it's supposed to be about 70 degrees at kickoff tomorrow afternoon for the Tigers game. So, I mean, it'll be a great afternoon to go out and support the Tigers and have a good showing against the USF team.
I'm calling it.
All right.
Tigers South Florida combined goes over the temperature.
Oh, an over temperature.
Rare over temperature.
Brett, that was a big thing my buddies used to tell me about during COVID when there was no sports on. You could bet on the weather. I don't know where they were doing it at, but you could bet on the weather for the next day. And some of my friends, they would be like,
I got an 800 number for you.
Yeah, I mean, they'd be texting me at night like, all right, they're saying the forecast is going to be about like 72 tomorrow. Do you think we could get a little higher than that? I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, I got to bet on the weather tomorrow. I was like, first off, you don't have to.
We go with Dave Brown or National Weather Service?
Good question.
AccuWeather.com. Who'd we go with?
I personally thought they were crazy, so I didn't ask too many questions about where they were getting their info.
Goofy alarmists at Channel 3 that everything's going to kill us.
I love that. No, I have no idea, but yes, that was there was a time during COVID where at least people I knew we're betting on weather. So
Really?
so maybe we can find something. If you want to bet on the over for the weather tomorrow, we can find somewhere, Brett.
You're a good person, man. You run with a rough crowd. Want to leave games early? Want to bet on the weather?
Bet on the weather, yeah. No, it's a wacky group, I can tell you that. It's about all I got to talk about my friends. They're a little wacky.
Sounds like a good group.
Yeah, a very, very good group. But you're right. It should be a great day of football tomorrow all across the country. I mean, we're starting off hot tomorrow morning. Number 1, Ohio State in action.
Those 11 o'clock games are great.
I mean, it's incredible. Kansas State, who's ranked 23rd against 7th-ranked Texas. The game you'll be at, Texas A&M at 10th-ranked Ole Miss. 15th-ranked Notre Dame at Clemson. Tennessee hosting UConn. Arizona State, Utah. I mean, those are some really good early games. And I know for you, that Ole Miss game is going to be one I think a lot of people are keeping their eyes on, because right now, after the college football playoff rankings, Ole Miss up to 10, sitting at 7-1. But this Texas A&M this Texas A&M team, more specifically that defense, has kind of been hard to figure out this year, because that defensive line is just so good. But this team has lost a couple of games that you would think that they would win.
I don't think Ole Miss is being taken that seriously nationwide. Now, 10th in the rankings last week, you can't complain about that. But I think there are some fair reasons why. Number one, the wins for Ole Miss this year. Okay, LSU, great win, no doubt. It speaks for itself. Tulane, I think, great win. The rest of them, it's kind of close against Auburn, kind of close against Arkansas. So not that impressive of those wins. And last year, I think, still looms large in a lot of people's memory banks on frankly the November collapse last year, when Ole Miss was setting it basically about this same point. The only way you can change stereotypes, tropes, canards, ideas of people. The only way you can change it is to go out and change it, and that's to take care of business tomorrow. Now, even with A&M, that would be A&M's 4th loss tomorrow.
Sure will.
Is that right?
That's right. They're 5-3 right now, 3-2 in conference play.
I don't know that rallies a lot of the doubters.
Probably not.
You beat A&M, everybody else has to.
Sure. I mean,
so you go do it at Athens.
Yeah, they have 4 losses. Yeah.
And if Ole Miss keeps winning, they will be taken seriously.
Absolutely.
You want to be treated seriously, act serious.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. So it's gonna be a fun game, an early one in Oxford. This is the first 11 a.m.
First one all year.
Season. Okay, that's what I thought. I had told somebody the other day.
We had the 1 o'clocker opening afternoon against Mercer, but this is the first early one, and I was told that ESPN and the SEC that they're trying to do something to blunt Big Noon. That Big Noon's going out there and just grabbing big ratings, so they want some firepower tomorrow. The big one tomorrow night, understandably, is LSU in Alabama under the lights at Bryant-Denny Stadium at 6:45. No problem there. But and going forward in the future, when the ESPN and ABC has the entire SEC package next year, you're going to see a lot more glamour games at 11.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't even think about Big Noon, because that's kind of the format they have developed.
It's kicking tail and taking names.
Yeah, let's get one of our biggest games of the day and put it right to start the day. And it's getting a lot. I mean, I can think back not just this year, but the past couple of years, and that kind of 11 a.m. ESPN game right after game day is usually kind of a snoozer, and usually a game I watch, but not a marquee matchup. And then over on Fox, you've got 2 ranked teams. I mean, tomorrow it's going to be Kansas State and Texas, 2 ranked teams. So I think having a big SEC game on ESPN to start the day, like Ole Miss and Texas A&M, is definitely good.
We've come a long way from the 11:30 JP game, the Raycom game, when basically that was just for everybody kind of still coming to or still hanging around from Friday night.
That's great. We've
and
come a long way.
Literally, I slept in a vehicle in the Grove one year and then went to an 11:30 game.
Really?
In '89, yes.
Wow. Interesting. Sounds like a
Ole
good
Miss
time.
in Georgia, a big win.
Really? Sounds like a lot of fun. So
well, it was.
It sounds like it. No, but it should be a lot of fun. And you mentioned that LSU Alabama game. That's where game day will be tomorrow. Is that one's on?
And their guest picker,
night.
The comedian.
Yeah, you said his name last night.
Nick Bargatze.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I guess so. But that'll be a fun game. tomorrow night, and a good game for game day. I know.
Final game for Gary Danielson at Bryant.
Yeah,
Denny,
which
with
is
CBS
crazy.
package leaving. Among a lot of things like the Tiger discontent this week, I don't understand the just say his name and here comes the criticism around the SEC. I think he's been a great analyst.
Oh, yeah.
Called it down the middle. He's been at a lot of games at Bryant Denny for a reason. They've kind of been the focus of the sport the last 15 years.
A little bit.
Where do you think he should have been at? Vanderbilt games?
Oh, yeah. No. I think he was at the right place. And, it's going to be weird tomorrow kind of hearing his last game there because it's going to be – I mean, we talk about all the changes, but that's going to be a big change next year when we don't have SEC games on CBS. It's going to be
And next year, I don't know that 2:30 will be the appointment time. It might be 3.
Sure.
But it's not going to move up because they want to clear out where there's not that crossover, and so they want to give plenty of landing area for the 11 o'clock game.
Sure.
I think next year 3 o'clock maybe even 3:30 with kicking back to something in prime time at 6:30 or 7. So that that tomorrow could be or this season is going to be the end of the 2:30 appointment TV on CBS, and CBS has been great for the SEC. But
Absolutely.
it just came down to rights fees and money and CBS lost out on that, but they got a great package.
Sure.
And that crew, I know tonight where the CBS crew where Craig Silver, their producer, and the on-air talent that everybody sees, and where they go on Friday night in Tuscaloosa, and they're having a pretty big party welcome for them tonight because they know it's the last time probably for forever.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. So that's going to be weird, and it's going to be weird next year when we really see it kind of play out and the SEC no longer on CBS. It's going to be different times, that's for sure. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. At 3:30, Alan Bell from CBS Digital will join us. We'll talk some wagering with him and look at this weekend's slate. 3:45, we'll talk some more about the Tigers versus USF, a big homecoming game for the Tigers as they look to pick up their 7th win of the season at home after a couple of weeks on the road. 4 o'clock, Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net. He'll join us. We'll talk some more wagering with him, get to a lot of picks in both college football and the NFL. 4:30, Ty Richardson, who usually has joined us at 5 o'clock. We've moved. We're changing. Basketball season is here, so Ty Richardson moves to 4:30. We're going to talk a lot of Razorbacks. They're back in action this week down in Gainesville to take on Florida. We'll also have to talk about that basketball team with basketball season starting, but we'll talk to Ty at 4:30 about the Razorbacks. Right at the end of that segment, about 4:42 or so, Brett, we've got to get to our weekend football bingo cards. We'll try to figure out what we think is said, what we think happens over
I tell you
this
what,
weekend.
by Desmond Howard.
I like it. Hey, that's almost like a free space in bingo.
Don't try it as a drinking game.
No, please don't. You won't make it till
comatose.
You won't make it to 10 o'clock.
I tell you what, tell us,
man.
Desmond. Just tell us, man. You ain't got to call your shot.
4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Jason Munns, presented by Jim's Place in Collierville. He's going to join us. The start of the college basketball season. 2 exhibitions in the book. The regular season starts on Monday. We'll talk to Jason Munns every single Friday from now to the end of the season. Hopefully, we'll be talking to Jason at the end of the season in Phoenix, talking about the Tigers, hopefully on a long tournament run. But we'll talk to Jason at 5 o'clock. 5:30, we'll get to our first National Bank and Trust Friday football forecast. And at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. But let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure studios where family and fun come together. The Overstock Sale. Family Leisure needs your help to clear out their overstock inventory. Select patio sets up to 50% off. Play gyms under $2,000. Extended sale pricing on all in-stock hot tubs and swim spas. And the winter pool closing items up to 30% off. Pool tables and game room items up to $700 off their in-stock items. Family Leisure also has saunas, massage chairs, arcades, and theater seating, all with free delivery, and the special financing, it's still available, but only at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
He's Bryant. I'm Brett. Johnny Hill with us as well, and we want you to be a part of it. Our show between now and 6 o'clock at 901-360-8255. This hour brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. You can call them at 901-334-9673, the one and only Lexus dealership in town with great offers on the remaining 2023s and all those beautiful new 2024s, and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2023 or 2024 flagship LS500s, and you'll be looking and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at LexusOfMemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day is the weekend of football. Another weekend. It's here, and we've got some great games in store. We start off early tomorrow morning with some marquee matchups at 11 o'clock. I mentioned them earlier, but number 1 Ohio State in action at Rutgers. 23rd ranked Kansas State on the road at number 7 Texas. Texas A&M at 10th ranked Ole Miss. 15th ranked Notre Dame on the road at Clemson. Tennessee hosting UConn. And then as the day goes on, just better football throughout the day. Tigers in action in the afternoon against USF. We've got a big matchup that I'm intrigued about. 12th ranked Missouri at 2nd ranked Georgia. 9th ranked.
Show me. Yeah, that's their name. Show me, Missouri.
That's right. We got Bedlam this weekend, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Penn State on the road at Maryland. And then the nightcap at 6:15 on CBS. LSU and Alabama. And then that will take us into another early morning on Sunday in the NFL. Dolphins, Chiefs on NFL Network. Throughout the day, some great games. Cowboys, Eagles at 3:30, and then we'll end the night with Bills, Bengals on NBC for Sunday Night Football.
I'm going to say Sunday we have about 14 and a half, 15 hours of football.
Yeah, man, sounds
stretching
about right.
From 8:30 to about 10:30, 10:45 or so.
That's incredible.
Yeah, we've got that. And tomorrow really is. I like your Mizzou take. Yeah. Tomorrow really is across college football, near and far. Show me. My top story, we're going to see the perfect weather day tomorrow in the area, at the fairgrounds, in Oxford. Can Ole Miss really make next weekend potentially the biggest November road game ever? You see how I cut it down, November and road?
I like it. Yeah.
So that cuts out everything at home. Cuts out Billy Cannon in October that year on Halloween. But that doesn't. That's not what is concerning Ole Miss. Not next week. It's got to be tomorrow. It won't be big next week if there's not a win tomorrow. Tigers at 2 o'clock against South Florida tomorrow. It'll be sun splash. Should be a good scene and a chance to move to 7-2 tomorrow in Starkville. State against Kentucky, playing for winner goes to a better bowl. They'll have dibs on the better bowl option out of those two teams. Plenty at stake tomorrow in the neighborhood, and the weather resplendent.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, we'll talk to Jason Munns about this Tiger basketball team at 5 o'clock. But Penny Hardaway's team wrapped up their exhibition slate last night with a big win over Lemoyne Owen. It was a lot of the same that we saw in that first game carrying over to the second game. Now, it was a slower start. Tigers were down early, had to kind of fight back. I think they were trailing 4 minutes into the game before really taking the lead and taking control of that game. We saw Javon Quinterly, who missed the first game with an injury, but he kind of looked like he maybe re-injured his knee and missed late in the game, left with that injury. And so don't know. Coach Hardaway said after the game that it seems like he's good to go and just maybe kept him out for precautionary reasons late in the game. But now exhibition slate's over. Regular season starts on Monday against a Jackson State team that I think gives the Tigers a really good test as they get ready for that big game against Missouri. This Jackson State team picked to win the SWAC, and I think will be a good starting game for the Tigers Friday night. They've got a really good Missouri team on the road, and then they'll come back against Alabama State. All three of those games, Penny Hardaway will not be able to coach. He said last night after the game to Dave Woloshin during the postgame show that it would be Rick Stansberry who would be the head in charge of the team in those games. And I think that's huge to have a guy like Rick Stansberry, who's been coaching for so long as the head coach in college basketball, to be able to lean on him while Coach Hardaway is out to coach this team is huge. But this team has looked impressive through these first 2 exhibition games, it looks like Penny Hardaway has kind of cut down that roster of who will be those regular guys in the rotation, and it will be fun to see what it looks like in an actual game Monday night against Jackson State.
It's real fun. It's right here, right in front of us. My not top story, the Grizzlies need any old kind of win in Portland tonight or this weekend in Portland. This is a nightmarish start. And the finger pointing and the blame game, it started. And I think it should. It's been bad play. I think there's been some shaky effort. And it's really been bad results so far. And the bench look late in the game the other night. I don't want to see the happy-go-lucky Jaren late in games getting blown out like he looked the other night, and I think that's part of the problem. It's time to act like a veteran player and grow up and be part of the cornerstone franchise-type player you're supposed to be. We're no longer talking about 19, 20, 21-year-old precocious Jaren. It's grow-up time.
Yeah, no, you're right. And these 2 games against Portland are huge tonight. The in-season tournament. Hard to say with all of these new kind of playoff-type things we've got going on. Hard to keep them in line. But the in-season tournament tonight against Portland, then they'll stay out there and play Portland again. So these are huge, and you're right. We need to see Jaren kind of make that next step. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to a break. And when we come back, we'll talk some wagering with Alan Bell.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
No matter what your past credit, no matter how much you owe on your trade, no matter if you tried to buy at another dealer and were turned down, Sunrise can get you financed. There's never been a better time to trade. Sunrise has hundreds of new vehicles and over a $10 million used car inventory, specializing in cars and trucks under $10,000. Sunrise has the lowest prices and will not be undersold. Bad credit, bankrupt, slow pay, Sunrise gets you financed when no one else can. Check out the inventory and apply online at sunrisememphis.com. The blowout going on now at all Sunrise locations, Covington, Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Fall is in the air, and so are Choate's Early Bird Specials. Right now, receive $1,000 off the purchase of a new Carrier gas furnace. Carrier furnaces come with some of the best warranties in the industry, and Choate's has been professionally installing them for over 60 years. As a Carrier factory authorized dealer, Choate's also offers competitive financing solutions for you and your family. If your heating system is in good shape, make sure you take advantage of Choate's Early Bird Tune-Up Special for $60. This tune-up is an in-depth 20-point inspection to make sure your furnace is ready for the winter season ahead. So call 347-8086 to schedule your Early Bird Special today. And turn to the experts with Choate's and let our family serve your family.
If you haven't experienced Genesis Diamonds yet, your moment has arrived. Next weekend, November 10th through 12th, Genesis is putting everything on sale. Save 20, 30, even 35%. Rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, engagement rings. World-class designers will be here too, showcasing fashion jewelry never seen here before. All on sale. Luxury pre-owned Rolex watches and all lab-grown diamonds are also included. Don't miss this spectacular store-wide sale. Next weekend, November 10th, 11th, and 12th at Genesis Diamonds, Poplar and Perkins Extended. See store for details.
It's time for the holidays.
Bah, humbug.
What, you're not all excited for the turkey and dressing and cranberry sauce?
The cooking, the cleaning, the relatives.
Well, you got people coming in from out of town?
Hi, so many people.
It'll be fun.
All I want to do is go to Central Barbecue.
That's all you ever want to do.
Alone.
Come on, it's the holidays.
Just sitting there in a booth all by myself, enjoying Central Barbecue, no family, being all festive.
Well, you enjoy your own private Central Barbecue holiday.
That is all I ask.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. from restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
Let's make some money. It's time for Wagering Talk with Alan Bell from CBS Sports. Alan is the executive producer of Early Edge, part of CBS Sports Digital, and on Twitter X at Alan G. Bell. Here's Alan with Bryant and Brett.
Alan Bell joining us now from CBS Digital, also the executive producer of The Early Edge. Alan, thanks so much for joining us. And before we get into this kind of loaded slate of games this weekend in both college football and the NFL, I'm curious your thoughts of the Titans, that game last night, Thursday Night Football, and Will Levis. We haven't talked to you since Will Levis made his first start for the Titans. What have you thought about him through 2 games so far?
Yeah, look, man, first I appreciate you guys having me back. And, nothing negative that I could ever say about Will Levis so far, right? I mean, the kid is all guts, dude. Yeah. Like, he just goes out, he plays tough. He reminds me of like a young Phillip Rivers. You know what I mean? Like,
I like it.
He kind of has that vibe to him, man.
Roethlisberger?
Yeah, absolutely, right? Like, he doesn't look like a rookie. Right? Like, he goes up there and he just plays. Like, he looks like he's been doing this for his entire life. And understand, there are going to be, downs that are going to come, right? Like, it's going to happen. But, man, like, the kid looks the part. I got to give him credit, man. The kid looks the part.
I don't think Vrabel would ever say this, but maybe in a closed door session, next year starts now for the Titans.
Yep. Yeah, it does. That's a great point. And you're right. It really does. And now it's about building him an offensive line, right? Like, I mean, they've got to get him an offensive line. And it's not like last night that there's an offensive lineman hurt on every single play, man.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And missing Skoronski. They tried to get it right in the offensive line this draft, but maybe they can. And are you glad, and what do you think the sentiment is around town? Did people want to move away from Derrick Henry, or are they glad he stayed?
Oh, glad he stayed, right? Now, there are people that you can walk and chew gum at the same time, that glad he's there, but would have understood if he was traded, right? Like, would have gotten it. But the hard part is this, that I don't know if there is a ton of value in trading him anymore, right? Like, A.J. Brown, when he was traded, like, I thought it was dumb, but, you at least got a return on it. For running back, you're just probably not going to get much, man,
And the thing about Derrick Henry now, you want to keep him Titan for life because he's going to the Hall of Fame, and he could be the only generation of this running back class that goes to Canton.
Yep. Yeah, agreed. And, if Levis is your guy, then you don't really have to trade Henry now. You know what I mean? Like, you're not paying him a ton. Like, it makes sense. So, yeah, it might work out to where now you don't have to worry about it at all. You can sign the guy down the road.
You've worked with, you've been around, the talk radio business. Dabo had nothing to gain by what he did the other night. I hope he feels good because now the scrutiny's really on. And I think it's always a bad sign when the coach is into it with his own fans. You got enough of the opposition coming after you that you don't need to pick fights with your own group.
No, not good at all. Not good. And, Dabo, a couple of years ago when this, entire NIL thing was coming out, he kind of showed his rear, in regards to that and said, I'll quit before any player
I'm out of
ever.
here before we pay them.
Yeah, and you know what that did? That killed your recruiting, buddy, because no player wants to go there now because you're fighting against them, and you got Mike Norvell down there at Florida State taking all your players, and he's saying, buddy, I'll get you every penny I can get you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
You got the SEC in the backyard going, hey, it's legal now. Let the good times roll.
Exactly, right? Mike Norvell actually has a brain over there, and he's saying, okay, well, you know what? I could use this. Dabo, it's not good. It reminds me of the end of Philip Fulmer at Tennessee, to where
that's a great comparison.
The second, that Fulmer started going and yapping at fans, immediately you're like, this is over. This is done. Like, you're not winning on the field. Now, the last part that you had, the people that were, had your back. Like, now that you're going at them, done, buddy.
Notre Dame, a 3-point favorite tomorrow morning at the other Death Valley over Clemson. Who wins that?
Yeah, look, Billy Notre Dame. It's horrible. I like, with Dabo, that locker room, I feel like it's done. And, him going after his quarterback as well, throwing him out of the bus twice in the last month, don't like it at all. Notre Dame had every reason to want and need to win this game and do it with silent points. Yeah, give me the honors.
Alan, Brett is in Oxford right now for Ole Miss and Texas A&M. Lovely Oxford,
and it is lovely.
That game tomorrow is an interesting one. Obviously, Ole Miss coming on strong this season, 7-1. They debuted at number 10 in the college football playoff rankings. But this Texas A&M team, kind of difficult to figure out. They've lost a couple of games in conference to Tennessee and Alabama, but that defensive line is unbelievable.
Most dangerous 3-loss team in the country, Alan. I hate when people say that.
Oh, man. Great call by you, Brett. What do you see in this one tomorrow?
Yeah, they are. I like Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a better team. Ole Miss has, the more complete team. You're right. Texas A&M's defensive line, they get after you. But I'll be honest with you. I saw them at Tennessee Place a couple weeks ago. You can negate that, right? But you keep yourself out of third and long, and you'll be fine. And especially when you have good quarterback play, good, play calling, and good run game. You can keep yourself away, and you can negate what they do. Look, I like their quarterback, Johnson. He's solid, man. Like, this kid is better than what's written on paper. That being said, he's not that great, right? Like, this kid is just not. This is just. It's tough to explain. They look the part, and then you see it, and it's a step slower than you think it might be, and it's just not that all put together. Ole Miss wins. Ole Miss covers. I'll take Ole Miss this week.
And that line is down to 2.5. It's come down all week. Ole Miss now just 2.5. Brian, we're picking it at 3.5 because that's what I sent to you, and we don't change on the fly. But I'm going to let you lay 2.5, Alan, for our picks here on Friday afternoon. And you're right about Max Johnson. He's good, he's talented, but it's almost like he's on a 3-second radio delay.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. I was trying to come up with a good analogy for it. You just nailed it right there. That's exactly it, and that's exactly that team. Like, you'll watch it and say it, but it does. It feels like a delay, 100%.
Watch him go for 425 tomorrow and be calling out the little radio guy that said I was on a 3-second radio delay. Another good 11 o'clock game tomorrow, the 11 o'clock slate tomorrow. By 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, the college football playoff poll could be really, really shaken up. Kansas State, they've lost 6 straight to Texas. They go to Austin. They face a younger quarterback, Malik Murphy, playing in place of Quinn Ewers. Texas 3.5 over Kansas State at famed DKR.
Yeah, so, okay. This one's tough without Quinn Ewers, the quarterback. That being said, I believe that it's rare that I bet a game because of a coach, but I'm betting a game on Texas because it's for Steve Sarkisian. I think that he understands this is why you were brought to Texas, to win this game, to win this one right here when, you've got injuries to deal with, the chips aren't all in your favor, it's kind of been a weird up and down type of a season. Kansas State's a good football team, but they're coming into your house. You know what? this is how you establish yourself and your program as those upper echelon teams, because coaches have dealt with quarterbacks being out, injuries being out there. But at the end of the day, you win this game. I'm going to bet Texas. I'm going to roll with them with the points. I think they handle their business here.
I like it. The big game in the SEC tomorrow night on CBS, 14th-ranked LSU traveling down to Tuscaloosa to face 8th-ranked Alabama right now. Alabama about a 3-point favorite. That total sitting about 61.5. What do you like tomorrow night?
Well, I'll say this. I'm taking Alabama. I don't like where this LSU team is headed in terms of injuries, especially defensively. I mean, they were already a liability on defense, and it's going to get worse. And unfortunately for the SEC, Alabama and Nick Saban kind of look like they're kind of putting this thing together, right? I don't know how far this team is going to go, but looking at Alabama today compared to Alabama from week 1, completely different. Give me Alabama here. I think that it's going to be a tough game for LSU, especially with it being in Tuscaloosa. Oof, it could be a hard one, man.
Nick Saban is ready when he's burst a blood vessel in his eye and it looks like it's bloodshot. And he said that the doctor told him it was from yelling too much. He's ready. He's ready for this game. Alan Bell with us, picking games from CBS Digital and executive producer of the Early Edge, and they are on top of it with that group. All right, give us your favorite college game, and then let's swing to Sunday in the NFL. You got a favorite college game we hadn't talked about?
Yeah, I do. Kentucky against Mississippi State. That was a freshman loss that the Wildcats had against Tennessee last week. Quite frankly, there were spots where Kentucky could have taken that game, and they just weren't disciplined enough to do it. I'm going to take them minus 3.5 on the road against Mississippi State. I think they found something in their quarterback. I think they saw something where they couldn't really run the ball. It was stifled. Tennessee sold out to stop that, but they were able to throw. And I think they come back strong. So, yeah, give me Kentucky minus 3.5.
Alan, I guess I'll be selfish and start in the NFL with my Dallas Cowboys on the road in Philadelphia against the Eagles. Right now, Eagles a 3-point favorite. That total sitting at 46.5. What do you think about my boys?
You know what, man? Give me the Cowboys.
Let's go.
Yep, give me the Cowboys. Look, this Cowboys team, when they're on, my goodness, man. Like, it just does not stop. This is going to be a hell of a game. Let me just say that. I don't have a negative thing to say about either team. I'm just going to take the Cowboys with the 3 points because I think that the Cowboys actually have the more explosive team right now, offensively and defensively. And if that defense is on, if they turn that amp up, I don't know if Philly can keep up. As weird as that sounds, give me Dallas, man. I'll take the Cowboys.
And there will be a lot of number 11 Micah Parsons Penn State jerseys in that crowd, and there will be 11s there for the Cowboys. Alan, I think the weekend slate, Saturday in college football and all day Sunday from 8:30 to well past bedtime, I think it's the combination of the best schedule of the year for us football fans. Bright and early Sunday morning, Dolphins, Chiefs, and Frankfurt, Kansas City, 1.5-point favorite. Who do you like?
Yeah. So, okay. This is how do you bet a Germany game? like, how do you bet that? But, that being said, give me the Chiefs. Don't ever get the Chiefs at 1 point, right? And Miami, I need to see it on the road. Because if you look at all the numbers, I mean, the Dolphins are historic at home.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always translate on the road. I'm going to trust the Chiefs in this one. That's a big trip, man. And the Chiefs have kind of done these things. I don't know if I trust the Dolphins just yet, but we'll see. Yeah, I'll take Kansas City with the 1.
Alan, last thing for you before we let you go. Favorite NFL bet of the weekend?
Man, all right, so that's a great question here. All right, so what do you do across the board? Because we're kind of getting down to, what is this, week 9?
Yeah.
That we're in already. The Cowboys is one of them. Now, what do you do with Sunday Night Football? The Bills at the Bengals, right? I don't know with the Bengals on this one. I think that they've got something, and the Bills, I'm a little concerned. Like, how do you guys feel about Buffalo? Like, there's something there that when Josh Allen can't run, it's trouble.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to roll with the Bengals on this one, but I'd love to hear you guys talk.
I think they have a great quarterback, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Great boy.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Brett. That's about it.
And this week, they're facing a quarterback that is better than their quarterback, in Joe Burrow.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I keep it simple, Alan.
I like it.
That's what we like to hear. Well, that should be a fun one Sunday night. Really should be a great day of NFL football all day on Sunday. But, Alan, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll do it again next Friday.
Have a great one.
Guys.
Thanks, Alan.
Thank you.
You got it. And next Friday, we'll get some college basketball from
will.
Alan Bell. How about that? We're into that time of year. So 3 weeks from today will be the day after Thanksgiving, and we'll be into leftovers. If you have any left, I bet you won't. If you get the holiday bird at the commissary or the hams, whole turkeys and hams, they've got it for you. All the sides, everything that comes with it. Pint of gravy, quart of dressing, quart of sweet potato casserole. They have cranberry sauce, mashed potatoes, homemade cornbread dressing. They've got it all, and they will take care of you for your feast. If you have anything left over, I'll be very surprised. If you don't have anything left over, that's when you dig into the barbecue from the commissary, what they're famous for worldwide and approaching being famous for the holiday specials that they have. The two great locations like the Collierville Commissary at Houston Levy and Poplar are the original in Germantown. To order that holiday meal, you need to order now. It's going fast. There's only so many spots. 901-754-5540 or go online at commissarybbq.com. They're in Collierville. They're in Germantown, the great party areas. Orders to go, catering, tailgating. There'll be a lot of people with the tailgates tomorrow at Tiger Lane and in the Grove with all the great barbecue from the commissary. Perfect for tailgating is when you order it by the pound, the 6-pack or the 8-pack or the 12-pack, that Memphis-style barbecue that screams the Memphis slow-cooked way, and all the sides that come with it, like beans, slaw, deviled eggs, bread. But also start with the appetizers like the cheese plate or the tamales or the barbecue nachos, the smoked chicken wings. And if you're craving an easier way to order, you can do it right now. Text commissary to 33733. But for the holidays, for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, here's the number for the holiday meals, 901-754-5540, or go online to commissarybbq.com. They'll give you all the instructions. They've got it down, and you will be glad. If you do it for the Thanksgiving holidays, you'll do it again at the Christmas holidays. 901-754-5540 or online at commissarybbq.com.
Well, let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll preview the Tigers game this weekend against South Florida. That's next on Sportstime.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Memphis football is home Saturday, November 4th at 2 o'clock for homecoming against South Florida. Enjoy the pregame concert, mechanical bull riding, and Tiger tailgate on Tiger Lane before the game. Tickets start at just $20 as Memphis football continues to work toward a berth in the American Championship game. Be at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium Saturday, November 4th at 2. Purchase your tickets today at GoTigersGoTix.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
How long has it been since you heard the term being overstocked? Well, it's happened at Family Leisure. Yep. That means you get the savings, like select patio sets that are up to 50% off. If you need a play gym, you're in luck because they're also overstocked and start at under $2,000. Pool tables and game room items up to $700 off of in-stock items. Saunas, massage chairs, arcades, even theater seating. Special financing is available with free delivery. Family Leisure is extending sale pricing on all in-stock hot tubs and swim spas. And if you need supplies to close up your pool for the winter, Family Leisure has them up to 30% off. It's been a while since you've heard of an overstock sale, but Family Leisure is right in the middle of one. Huge deals and a huge overstocked inventory. That means great savings for you. It's happening now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Does your current trophy wife want a life insurance policy 3 times the size of your previous mistakes? Relax and call Big Lou at Term Provider. Big Lou says if you're in your 50s, even a bit porky, a $1 million term life policy should only cost about $200 to $300 per month. Call Big Lou at 800-529-2856. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He likes trophies, too. For affordable life insurance, call 800-529-2856.
Spencer here with ATC Fitness. There's no better time of the year than now. Football and fitness go hand in hand in the fall. And with individual screens on each piece of cardio and multiple big screens throughout the rest of the club, you'll never miss a bit of the action watching your favorite team. ATC Fitness continues to be the Mid-South's choice for fitness, family-owned for 30 years, and proud supporters of Coach Silverfield and the Memphis Tigers. Join online at atcfitness.com. ATC Fitness, exercise your right to look good.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure studio. And we got to talk about the Tigers tomorrow afternoon taking on USF at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. Brett, when you look at this matchup, we talked about it earlier, USF seems to be similar of a team as we've seen the past 2 weeks against North Texas and UAB. New coach, a good offense, but kind of struggling in that first year defensively. What do you expect tomorrow afternoon for the Tigers?
I'm scared to death of it.
Yeah.
I'm scared of this game, and not just the dynamic around town this week, but the Tigers play. I don't think one time this week I said Tigers play last Saturday was perfect, have I?
No, not once.
I don't think a single time I said that was a Gold Star game. Now, I did give a letter grade through 8 games as an A.
Yeah.
An A because the object is to win, and that's what they did last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's about all they did, but that is the requirement.
But that's the important part.
I mean, this thing, we need to change wins and losses to pass and fail.
Yeah.
And they passed last week.
They did.
That was about it. It makes me nervous about this game for a lot of reasons, and because I'm scared of the tackling for the Tigers.
Yes.
If you're still having that tackling issue through 8, you're probably not going to get it fixed. And it's been there since the Navy game, and it's reared its head a couple times. A couple times it hadn't.
Yeah.
But I think the kind of the default you have to go with is this is a poor tackling team.
It is, and I've brought up a couple of times this week. I mean, you go back to the UAB game, and when they were struggling was early in that first half, and a lot of it was missed tackles, and they ended the game with 23 missed tackles. Last week against North Texas, it was the second half, and the defense kind of missed a lot of tackles, and that's what gave North Texas the opportunity to come back in that game, and they finished with 17 missed tackles in that game. Both of those are way too many missed tackles to have, I think, this far into the season, and so that is definitely something against an explosive offense like we've seen the last couple of weeks, kind of a young offense under a new coach. That certainly can be scary.
I think it's going to be a wild one. That's why I said it's going to go above the temperature tomorrow, and the temperature will be ideal at kickoff. But I do think the Tigers have plenty of offensive potency, firepower to hang in that kind of game. That's what last week ended up being, hanging in that kind of game. That is very nerve-wracking. The defense always finds a way to break when it's bent that much, and I just hope it doesn't tomorrow. I think the Tigers will win, but I am very, very nervous about that game tomorrow because, and also that dynamic that is out there. I don't think it's the main reason for the nerves, but I hope the players aren't listening to any of that or the coaches.
Right. Yeah, I hope not. I mean, I know coaches all across the country, preach, don't listen to the noise. Don't let it get in here. Tunnel vision. Don't listen to the outside. It's just the guys in here. So hopefully, but when you look at this USF team, they're 2-2 in conference. The last two conference games they've lost to FAU and UAB, and both those games were very lopsided. 56-14 against FAU, 56-35 against UAB. But then those two games before, this Rice team has kind of been an interesting team. They've won some games that you didn't think they were going to win.
I'm glad the Tigers don't play them.
I am too, but USF went out and hung 42 on them, 42-29 in that game. So you really don't know what to expect from this USF team. I think a really fun offense to watch. So it should be an interesting one tomorrow afternoon.
We'll make our pick at 5:30. But this game scares me, so I think you know where I'm going.
Yeah, I think so, and we'll see where I go. I might go the opposite way of you when we get to those picks at 5:30. But let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we're going to make some more picks. We're going to get some more wagering with Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals and free bore sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Corky's Barbecue in Cordova.
Roofs, and more roofs. Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair simply because they don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance claims for policyholders each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. Call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates, consultation, and claim repairs. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, diagnosing problems, and estimating is second to none, commercial and residential. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. All you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and Mulehide with labor warranties up to 50 years on all of our jobs. Metro Builders provides roof repairs across the Mid-South. Call Metro Builders to schedule your inspection free. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
Wow, I feel good shopping at DriveMax, you get value.
Need a car that screams I feel good? DriveMax has it all. From cars to SUVs, find a tightly inspected used car that'll have you dancing all the way home. Call 901-664-2424 or visit DriveMaxApproval.com.
DriveMax, I got approved.
Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. I like putting a spread bet together with the over for my parlays, and anytime player touchdown always has me on the edge of my seat. So if you're ready to do the same, visit FanDuel.com/win and kick off the NFL season. That's FanDuel.com/win. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
21 plus and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame money line wager required. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call TN Redline 1-800-889-9789.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every dollar you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawald Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawald is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Cleaning up some debris over here on 55 southbound at 3rd Street. They've been out here for a while. Traffic's running a little bit slow between Mallory and 3rd on 55 going southbound. It's picking up with more volume just in the last few minutes up through Midtown. It's also increasing with a lot of traffic here on 240 getting onto 385 going outbound. Hey, get rid of that old junk car right now by calling Memphis for junk cars. That telephone number, area code 901-258-8999. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Joining the guys every Friday is college football historian and Vegas legend Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insiders, CBS Sports, and his own website, bamsports.net. With over 30 years on Memphis radio, with handicapping and sports talk, here's Bruce Marshall with Bryant and Brett.
Bruce Marshall from CBS Sports, bamsports.net, and Vegas Insider joins us now. Bruce,
don't hang up on us.
Yeah,
Bruce.
Don't hang up on us. I heard you're a big fan of the school whose song is playing right now.
No.
Bruce, thanks for joining us.
What are you doing playing that song in Memphis for? I mean, I don't get it. You know, I would
don't hang
like,
up on us, Bruce.
I play in the Eyes of Texas on Trey Schapp's show up there, and that wouldn't work out too well. So there you go.
No, it would not.
We did UW at 3.
Yes,
we did SC at 4. Bruce, you're going to be at the Coliseum tomorrow night. I wish you would be in Oxford. You were good luck for us in Oxford 2 years ago when Ole Miss played the Texas Aggies. But you'll be at the Coliseum tomorrow night. How many games of every type have you been to at the famed Coliseum?
Oh gosh!
Could you put a number? Come close to a number?
Oh God! I mean 100 maybe.
Wow!
The first games I went, I was pretty young. I believe I went to Dodger games there because we had season tickets, though I don't remember. But my older brother says yes, I did. When the Dodgers still played there, I consciously
never doubt the older brother when he tells you did something.
Yeah, I believe him
because I've got a great older brother.
Consciously, I remember '63, the Ohio State game, and the Stanford game, and the Rams-Colts game the day after the weekend, 2 days after JFK was assassinated and Jack Ruby shot Lee Harvey Oswald that morning. We went to the Coliseum that afternoon.
That was on TV before y'all left for the game.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. And I remember being there, but apparently, they had no halftime. They didn't introduce it before, and CBS did not televise the NFL that weekend. But from '63 on, I mean, I've been seeing a lot there. I saw OJ's first game in '67 against Washington State, and I saw one game where SC played Clemson in '66. Clemson was the worst team I ever saw in '66, and SC missed all 5 extra points after all 5 of its touchdowns, 30-0. but they missed every single extra point. Only time I've ever seen that.
Good Lord.
That's incredible. You got to almost try to do that. I mean, if you line up and go, all right, let's shank every one of them. Was OJ the single best talent you ever saw perform on that fabled field?
Yes, I begrudgingly will say that. Yeah. Now we saw a lot of Rams games too. I saw the first Super Bowl there. I went to a lot of games when I was young in the '60s. My dad took me to a lot of games, and so I saw the Packers. Let me take it back. I saw Jim Brown one of his last games. It was rainy in '65, and the Rams hammered the Browns, who had already sewed up the NFL East that year. So I did see Jim Brown there. He was not at his best that day, but because I saw Brown, I'm going to defer to him, even though I did not see him at his best in that game.
It's fully coming apart for SC, isn't it? And I think a lot of the country are kind of like OU fans, not minding watching Lincoln Riley wallow in it.
Yeah, I think you're right, Brad. And I've done shows up in Oklahoma City, Norman with James Hale, a good friend of mine, and 2 years ago, he and a lot of the Sooner fan base were really down on Riley. Now, the record wasn't too bad in 2021, but they thought that team way underachieved, and that was when Caleb was at quarterback. And he just does not. He is always going to be at the whim of whoever he hires on the defensive side there, because he doesn't have any expertise on that side.
The
of the
Grinch
ball.
that stole college football.
Yeah, and Alex Grinch seems to be his preferred guy. He's going to be forced into making a change after this season, but I think it's culture there, too. You can't be in L.A. these days and play the sort of defense. UCLA's playing that, but, I mean, every tackle, they think the TMZ cameras are on them. They showboat, every tackle they showboat and point the other way and things. They just don't. The mindset isn't there. And when your quarterback is more concerned about his earring and his nail polish, and that's true with Caleb Williams, because he talks about that. He's into himself so much, and and getting paid all this money. I think that's a bad situation there right now.
Yeah, it really
All right,
is.
tomorrow, UW laying the 3.5 at the Coliseum. Who do you take, Husky Dogs or Trojans?
I take the Husky Dogs, although I'm a little leery right now because Washington has not looked good the last couple of weeks. Now, we can put that down maybe to a little post-Oregon letdown. The fact Arizona State in particular, Stanford, I don't know, but I mean, they got involved in a couple of scraps here, and there were some people up there, even in September, were a little worried about the Huskies. They thought they didn't tackle as well as they should on defense. But I mean, when you talk about bad defenses, SC wins that race because in bad defenses. And by the way, SC is now over 16-1 its last 17 games. The only game that landed under was against Stanford back in September when SC had scored 49 points in the first half and just took its foot off the pedal in the second half. That ain't going to happen here. They don't stop anybody. Washington, I think, if it shows up, will win. Though first team to 40, that might be the barometer here. I had it 45-38 Huskies, and yes, I am going over again, although this total is 76. Ooh. That's more than double, way more than double some of these games we got this week. But I still think it goes over because I don't think these teams stop each other, especially SC. If Penix is on, he will dissect that SC pass defense, which is pretty spotty.
Okay, so over 76.5, that will be over the game time temperature. It's supposed to be 68 at kickoff. Tomorrow in Memphis, it's supposed to be around 70 at kickoff. And I said the Tigers in South FLA would go over the temperature. Break down the hometown Tigers tomorrow at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium against South Florida.
Well, South Florida has had its moments this year with Alex Golesh, and the offense at times has looked really good. Now, they've had a couple of alarming breakdowns, though, defensively. And, the UAB game, the FAU game, Tom Herman really laid it on them. So that would be a concern for mine on the South Florida side. Memphis has gotten involved in some kind of wild games here, like the North Texas game, and I could sort of see that happening again here. So I might look over in this one too. I think Memphis outscores them here. Over would be my first thought. 45-35. Seth Hannigan should put up some pretty good numbers, and this offense should move against a very yielding South Florida defense. But I might look over first of all here in this one.
A big one in Oxford tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock on ESPN. Texas A&M versus Ole Miss. Ole Miss looks to improve to 5-1 in SEC play tomorrow. Right now they're a 2.5-point favorite. That total sitting about 52.5. What do you like in this early game tomorrow?
Yeah, well, this, like Brett said, this game I came to 2 years ago. It was the ESPN game, the night game, 2 years ago.
Game day.
It's 11, it's 11 a.m. stuff. I wouldn't be up for that. But I know Brett's got to be there. But Lane Kiffin has sort of enjoyed rubbing Jimbo's face in it in the Jimmy Sexton game of the week here.
It really is.
But I still wonder about A&M here, and I know they took South Carolina out last week, but it took them a while to get going last week, and Max Johnson just does not have enough mobility at quarterback. I don't think he's really a downgrade from Weigman at all, but we saw when they've lost, we saw Tennessee come after him, we saw Alabama come after him, and Ole Miss, if nothing else, will try to do the same thing tomorrow. Ole Miss seems to just balance things a little more. They're not putting up those frightening rushing numbers this year like they were a year ago, but I think actually this is a little more mature offense maybe, and Dart's got another year at quarterback, and he's been a little bit more effective. So I think Lane gets them again tomorrow. He seems to love beating Jimbo anyway. 27-19, Ole Miss. There is a narrow path for Ole Miss to get to Atlanta and maybe even to the Final Four. They have to beat Georgia to do that, so they got a lot of dominoes have to fall. But you get it in November, and that's still at least a possibility. It's good times at Oxford.
It is, and the one way to stay in the conversation is keep winning. One way to go over the top rope and out of the conversation is to get beat. And if Ole Miss were to win tomorrow, I have said it would make next week the biggest Ole Miss November road game in history. So that cuts out October 31st in LSU many years ago, and it even cuts out Alabama games because those games weren't played in November. But it would set up a big one in Athens next week, but all that would be meaningless with a loss.
Yeah, that would. And remember the caution. I mean, this is about where it started to unravel for Ole Miss last year.
Sure did.
In November, and so they got to be careful. But I think they can get the job done tomorrow. We'll see.
Tomorrow, the Gators at 11 o'clock our time, 11 a.m. Central Time, 3.5-point favorite over the Razorbacks, 6 straight losses for Arkansas, and they've always struggled at the Swamp.
Brett, somebody's got to answer me why this number has moved down and who's betting this much money on Arkansas, because this number had been 5.5, 6, and now we're seeing 3 and 3.5. I just don't get it.
Real American money.
Yeah, real money.
Real currency.
I don't know. I mean, some of the Walmart people bet on Arkansas. I don't know, but the offense has really been a mess. And I think, and you can confirm this better than me because you're closer by, but it seems like the Mississippi State loss really ratcheted things up on Sam Pittman. Now he lost some close ones. The LSU game was close. They played Alabama close. They had some tough losses, but when you just got nothing going right against Mississippi State, they only scored 3 points, and now in retrospect, the BYU loss is looking worse because BYU is struggling, and you're losing all these games in a row. If I'm not mistaken, his career record is now under 500. And
correct. That
would save Arkansas on the buyout if they wanted to do this. So, I mean, his job is really on the line. But the offense hasn't worked without Kendall Briles there this season. I think that even more than the Barry Odom departure to UNLV has hurt because this offense has really regressed this season. I'll say this about Napier. Mertz has had some good games, and they started off well last week. I don't think if Napier had to do it over again, he'd go for that fourth down in his own territory down 10-7. He missed that, and then everything's the dam open the other way. But they've shown me more because Mertz has put up some better numbers than KJ this year. And I think Florida gets them tomorrow, 26-17 Gators. I just don't want to mess with Arkansas right now.
And that would cover the 3.5 easily. Bruce says Gators over Arkansas. Bruce, I don't even know where the Razorbacks would start with a broad list. I know people would take the job. I know people that would want the job, but I don't. I mean, there's always been a name or two, way back to Coach Broyles and his, for his successor was a couple of names, and into replacing Lou Holtz, into replacing Ken Hatfield and Jack Crow and Houston Nutt and all through the years. I don't know where to start.
Well, the Malzahn's name seems to keep coming up, and his roots in Arkansas. That's inevitable. But he is not exactly tearing it up at UCF this season. So, and he really hasn't since he got there. So I'm not sure his star is shining as bright. They might think he's an improvement on Pittman. Maybe he is. He is something of an established commodity. In the SEC, in retrospect, his job at Auburn was pretty good. So that might be where they turn. But you're right. I'm not sure what they would do now. Would a guy like Willie Fritz be interested in this job at this stage of his career? I'm not sure that he would. Although we heard he may have jumped at Georgia Tech if they would have been a bit more patient last December, which they weren't. There's some other ones around. Matt Campbell, but I don't know that he wants to leave. Arkansas right now, they're near the bottom of the pecking order in the SEC West. Now they're going to change the division thing next year, but still, now Oklahoma and Texas come in, it's going to be that much harder. So it might be a little more difficult to recruit a top coach, although it is an SEC job, and SEC and Big Ten jobs are very coveted. So I hardly think anybody would say no to Arkansas, these guys we're talking about. But they may have to look outside the normal net to find their guy.
Yeah, and changing getting out of the divisions, I know that would, you're no longer 6th or 7th in the West, but then you're 14th, 15th, or 16th overall. And I think that will be sobering for people to pop up the standings and look at that. The idea of Gus Malzahn maybe almost in coaching retirement victory lap, not that engaged, pencil not that sharp, is frightening. It could be the final nail for the Razorback program if he came in and did them a halfway job.
It might be, and like I said, he ain't exactly burning it up with UCF. They have not won a league game this year in the jump to the Big 12. That is hardly a way to come in with any momentum if he really thinks. He's a Jimmy guy, I think, too, so, maybe Sexton gets him involved. But we had heard that Malzahn likes it in Orlando, but like you say, though, Brett, if there's an SEC job open up, especially back home, I hardly think Malzahn would say no. The question is, would Arkansas really ask him? I guess we'll find out if they keep losing this month and they pull the plug on poor Sam Pittman. We'll see.
Yeah, it would be interesting. A big game tomorrow afternoon on CBS. 12th-ranked Missouri traveling down to Athens to take on second-ranked Georgia. Right now, Georgia a 15.5-point favorite. That total at 55.5. What do you think in this one?
I have always thought this is the one that could get Georgia this season. Now the mood has struck, like last week, like the Kentucky game. They look like they're ready to move into the NFC South. But Bauer's still hurting, and they hadn't covered any other games this season. And, oh, yeah, by the way, they were a 31-point favorite last year into Columbia. Weather's a little bit dicey, but they were on the ropes. And Kirby, after the game, saying, hey, look, he said they outplayed us, they outcoached us. He said Eli had us off balance in that game, and they neutralized that push up front from Georgia defensively. And I don't think Georgia's got quite the same defensive front as they had last year. Still really good, not quite maybe that level. And Stetson Bennett was completely flustered until well into the fourth quarter. And they finally figured out a couple things out, and they barely won that game. Missouri's better this year. Brady Cook, his shoulder is not hurting like it was a year ago. He's putting up really good numbers. Schrader is a really rock'em sock'em fullback in there, sort of like Shipley from Clemson. And Burden is a big-time receiver, and it's not a bad defense. And if not, they could have beat they beat LSU. This is which they really could have. This would be an even bigger game. It's still pretty big. I think Georgia wins, but not by a lot. 28-23. Missouri's covered this game the last few years, and I think Eli has done a great job. By the way, this is the sort of guy, if one of these SEC jobs opens up, and I know he's in the SEC, but they have poached within the league before. Florida's going to do something with Napier, and even Arkansas. Give Missouri a call. I know it's an SEC job, and they pay pretty well there, but Drinkwitz is the real deal, I think.
So Missouri to keep it real close between the hedges against Georgia. Tomorrow night, LSU and Alabama, part 99 in this saga between those two. LSU with 2 losses and almost acting like this is the 2011 game, but it's not. LSU, they have to have this one just to stay in some loose conversation. Alabama, 3-point favorite. Who do you like?
Well, it is like last year's game, sort of, but I'm a little surprised the number is this low. Now, which is the lowest number Alabama has had, at home. And this is a lower number than when Joe Burrow came in there a couple of years ago. Now, Alabama was a little more lethal in 2019. It's a lower number than when Cam Newton came in there with Auburn the year they won the whole thing in 2010. So, I mean, we will see. Let me say this, though, before we get much further here. LSU has already played Florida State in Orlando. They've played Ole Miss, where you were at, Brett, in Bud Hemingway, and they've played here at Tuscaloosa after this week. That is 3 high-ranked teams they've played all the way from Baton Rouge. Alabama is playing its 4th-ranked team this week. When you tell me Michigan and that schedule they have played, and everybody wants, I know Michigan, they'll get Penn State and Ohio State. I know they're good. But the Big Ten is a stinking joke. It's a travesty, and Michigan's schedule is a travesty. I don't know why they're not being called out a little bit more. You give this schedule to any SEC team, say maybe Vanderbilt, because they lost that game to UNLV back in September. You give this schedule to Jimbo, he's 8-0, and Jimmy Sexton's got him another raise and a contract extension. You give this schedule to Billy Napier at Florida, they're calling him the next Spurrier, and Jimmy Sexton gets him a contract raise and extension. You give Shane Beamer this schedule at South Carolina, he's 8-0. And he could run against Lindsey Graham the next Senate election and maybe win. That's how ridiculous this Michigan, and I don't see why more people aren't calling Michigan out. I know they got to play Penn State and Ohio State coming up, but there is no excuse for what's going on, and this is why schedules have to be changed going forward. Okay, I got that off my chest. LSU, this would put Jaden Daniels right in the middle of the Heisman race if he can win this game. And if LSU wins, he's going to have a big game, like he did last year. That was the best last 6-7 minutes last year in overtime. I think we saw all last season. But the difference here, I think, is, and this game, by the way, sets up a lot like last year for these two. LSU had 2 losses coming in. Alabama has 1. Last year, though, there was a conference loss. The difference here, though, is this year, LSU's defense, I don't think is as good as it was last year. They have fallen apart in the second half against Florida State and against Ole Miss, that game you were at, Brett. And Alabama's defense has picked it up in SEC play for sure when it needed to at A&M, against Ole Miss, the game in Tuscaloosa, against Tennessee a couple weeks ago. Shut out the balls in the second half. Very, very impressive. That's the difference between these two teams. That's why I'm picking Alabama. It's a little higher score I have, 37-29, and that is out of respect to LSU's incredible overstring. Every game this year, 12 straight, 15 in the last 16. The total's about 61. I think it goes over. But I think Alabama probably wins, and this number just looks a little too cheap to me. Don't be surprised if this gets bet up a little bit before kickoff, too.
I like it. Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net talking wagering with us. I want to get to some NFL games, but before we do that, Bruce, what is your favorite college football game of the weekend and kind of your off-the-board play of the weekend?
Iowa State will beat Kansas, I think. They're betting Iowa State a little bit, but they have turned things around. You got Kansas off of that major upset of Oklahoma last week. They stormed the field. I still don't know if Jalen Daniels is playing out. Bean is an experienced backup. He's probably started more than most guys in the country, and he did start at North Texas before, but he's a little drop-off from Daniels. Iowa State is playing really, really well. That defense is outstanding, and Rocco Becht has picked it up at quarterback after they threw him in the deep end, but sooner than they wanted early in the season. Iowa State in that one. In another one, I'm going to go in the Mountain West. I'm going to take Boise to go into Fresno and win. Boise is a couple plays from being 7-1 this season. They lost a few real close ones since they brought in Maddox Madsen at quarterback, taking most of the snaps now instead of Taylor Green, just a little bit too erratic. That has given some balance to Boise. Now, their best back, Austin Genty, I'm not sure if he's available this week, but George Halani, their other 1A, 1B back, came back last week, ran pretty well in the rout over Wyoming. I think Boise goes into the Central Valley and takes down Fresno on Saturday night.
Well, those should be some fun games. Let's get to the NFL, Bruce, in an early morning again as we've got an international game. Dolphins and Chiefs right now. Kansas City coming off a loss, a 1.5-point favorite. That total at 50.5. What do you like in the early morning game?
I like the Dolphins, though. I wonder if I'm just making a mistake and letting the eye test. And actually, the Dolphins, not every game have they gone out and burned up the rails. I mean, they lost those 2 games pretty heavily away from home against the Bills and Eagles, the best 2 they've played. But I just look at Kansas City, and something's missing here. And I think it's the wideouts there, and they're just not that special. And I saw Holmes just look flustered last week by Denver. Now, I know that bounces back. There's the yin and yang of the NFL, and that doesn't necessarily – he looked good the week before. But still, this offense has been mostly Kelsey this season. I just think there's an easier way for Miami to score, and I think they finally get them this week. So 27-23 Dolphins in beautiful Frankfurt Sunday morning.
Well, Bruce, from one Kelsey brother to the next, another big game on Sunday, Cowboys and Eagles. What do you like in that one?
Eagles, I'm not buying yet on Dallas. This is the pattern for Dallas we've seen for when things go right. Dak looks really good and everything fell in place. The Rams just sort of laid down for him last week. Not the same. He's had a couple losses on the road. We have been down this road with Prescott so many times until they win a big game like this on the road. And I'm not counting beating Tampa Bay in the playoff last year because that was a sub-$500 team. Then I might start believing. I will take the Eagles here. They got Devontae Smith more involved in that game last week against Washington. It was close, but they won. I think the Eagles get him here. So 30-20, Eagles.
Bruce, please tell me you've been to Frankfurt, you've been to Bundesliga games, and then tell us more about how we can access more information from you.
I have been to Frankfurt, but only at the airport. Bundesliga is still on the bucket list, so to be continued.
Really?
By the way,
Bruce Marshall has a bucket list? That's amazing.
Yes, and that's one. By the way, one more. Carolina, Frank Reich gets his revenge on the Colts. Take the Panthers on Sunday. Anyway, check it out, bamsports.net. And by the way, I write about that Chiefs-Dolphins 71 playoff thriller on Christmas in the feature story this week, college and NFL picks, bamsports.net. Also, vegasinsider.com, all of my picks there. And CBS Sportsline, CBS Sports HQ. They're already on this week, so I'll probably be on there next week sometime. But check it out on Sportsline as well.
That Christmas game, that started afternoon and ended early evening, didn't it?
Yes. Well,
that was like a 3 o'clock kick.
Yep, it was very dark there, and NBC.
Yeah.
Wow.
Over 8 to 6 quarter. Yep. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, because we were Christmasing and that game was on forever that day.
Yeah, and there was big controversy playing those games on Christmas in 71 too. So that's something we all forgot about today. But I mentioned that in the story, how big of a deal that was, and how much flack Pete Rozelle took for playing on Christmas in 71.
Interesting. Well, it should be a great weekend, Bruce. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll do it again next Friday.
Okay, guys, have a good weekend. Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce.
Good luck.
Bruce Marshall joining us from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net. Brett, I know we have to get to a break, but I do just want to get this out there. We've got breaking news. We have word back from the NCAA. DeAndre Williams' eligibility waiver has officially been denied by the NCAA. This was the appeal from the University of Memphis on the initial ruling. So DeAndre Williams' career at Memphis is officially over. He will not be a part of this team.
That's where we'll start with Jason Munz at 5 o'clock.
That's
presented by Jim's Place Grill.
Yeah, so we'll get some good information from Jason Munz at 5 o'clock. But we got to get to a break because when we come back, we got to talk Razorbacks. Ty Richardson from ESPN Arkansas. He's with us next.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Start your day the right way at La Palapa with the biggest, baddest breakfast burrito around. Chorizo, cheese, rice, beans, and eggs served with fresh salsa, and it's served all day. La Palapa has daily lunch specials, all served with rice and beans, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Try a torta, breaded chicken, steak, chorizo, or ham served with mayo, avocado, lettuce, tomato, and jalapenos, all in a hoagie. Plus amazing soups and dinner entrees, all at La Palapa, 5255 Summer Avenue. La Palapa, the little hut with big taste.
If you haven't experienced Genesis Diamonds yet, your moment has arrived. Next weekend, November 10th through 12th, Genesis is putting everything on sale. Save 20, 30, even 35%. Rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, engagement rings. World-class designers will be here too, showcasing fashion jewelry never seen here before. All on sale. Luxury pre-owned Rolex watches and all lab-grown diamonds are also included. Don't miss this spectacular store-wide sale. Next weekend, November 10th, 11th, and 12th at Genesis Diamonds, Poplar and Perkins Extended. See store for details.
Your brain is an amazing thing, but as you get older, it naturally begins to change, causing a lack of sharpness or even trouble with recall. Thankfully, the breakthrough in Prevagen helps your brain and actually improves memory. The secret is an ingredient originally discovered in jellyfish. Based on a clinical study of subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired, Prevagen has been shown to improve memory. A Pharmacy Times national survey of pharmacists rated Prevagen the #1 pharmacist-recommended memory support brand for the 5th year in a row. You can find it in the vitamin aisle in stores everywhere without a prescription. Help your memory. Try Prevagen today. Prevagen. Healthier brain, better life. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Jenkins Floors and More in Hernando is growing. This family business started up 5 years ago with just one pallet, and now they have hundreds. Tim, the owner, gets calls from people everywhere and can sometimes save them up to 50% on wood flooring, carpet, tile, and vinyl. Jenkins Floors and More helps with renovations, home building, and installation. Jenkins Floors and More, number 6 East Commerce Street in Hernando. Also in Little Rock and coming soon to Tennessee. Call 662-469-9350 for more information.
Experience the taste of Italy at Little Italy's newest location in East Memphis at 6300 Poplar. Little Italy has great Italian food for all your friends and family, and it's all your favorite dishes from lasagna to rigatoni vodka, Alfredo, even lobster ravioli. Try East Memphis Little Italy's very generous calzone, hot from the oven and stuffed with your choice of meats and perfectly melted cheeses. To celebrate East Memphis Little Italy's new location in East Memphis, purchase any 18-inch pizza or any entree and get a complimentary dessert. Either a free mini cannoli or a free slice of New York cheesecake. East Memphis Little Italy wants to spoil you with a piece of Italy you can feel, taste, see, and enjoy, and eat. East Memphis Little Italy, 6300 Poplar, hidden in back at the corner of Poplar and Massey. East Memphis Little Italy brings Italy to you.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Time to talk Razorbacks on Sportstime. Joining the guys is Ty Richardson from ESPN Arkansas to talk all things Hogs and SEC. On Twitter X at Ty Sports Radio, here's Ty Richardson with Bryant and Brett.
Come on, all you Razorback fans, let's stand up and call those Hogs!
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you, and we're about to talk some Arkansas football and basketball with Ty Richardson. I just want to mention it again. We talked about it on the other side, but the NCAA has officially has denied Memphis's DeAndre Williams his extra season of eligibility. We'll talk a lot more about that at 5 o'clock when Jason Munns joins us, presented by Jim's Place Grill in Collierville. But without further ado, Ty Richardson from ESPN Arkansas joins us from Gainesville. He'll be at the Swamp this weekend for Arkansas and Florida. Well, Ty, an off week last week for the Razorbacks. What are the airwaves like? What are the calls? What are the texts y'all are getting about this Arkansas football team?
Well, there's a lot of basketball this week, Brian. Based on the exhibition win over Purdue. Yeah. So I think that, again, not to take away, it was that way on Monday, and then people kind of centered their focus back on football. But, I mean, they got to win tomorrow, and they've never won in the Swamp. This is not a vintage Florida team like they've had under Spurrier or Myers. So they're capable of doing it. Just got to see a little bit from that offense, guys.
It is a big game for Arkansas and for Sam Pittman. And Ty, we'll do it while you're on there. We were talking with Bruce Marshall from the Goal Sheet, and this might be a little premature. And if you're uncomfortable with this line of questioning, please tell me so, because I sure don't want to violate our friendship. But where would the Razorbacks even start, kind of with a master list of names? Have y'all had that discussion? Have people started thinking about that for Sam Pittman, possible replacements?
Yeah, and I don't think it's premature. I mean, that's part of the territory. To be honest, Brett, I think it's more difficult than I think. This is a better job than it was when Sam Pittman took it over after Morris nearly destroyed the Arkansas football program. But now you're sitting here wondering, and I think it also comes down to what other jobs would be open at this point. I saw a great piece from Ross Dellinger. This first time in like over a decade that no coach has been let go for on-the-field reasons. We know Fitzgerald and also Mel Tucker for off-field stuff. But I mean, it's been 2 months in the season. We haven't seen any D1 college football head coaches let go. I thought Napier, honestly, might be one of them, but he's had a decent year thus far. So I think it really depends, Brett, on what other jobs are available, because then your selection can be more plentiful if you're not competing against better programs.
Yeah, and tomorrow doesn't make it any easier. You're right. Never won at the Swamp. Only defeated Florida once since Arkansas joined the SEC, and only beat them twice ever. I remember the Bluebonnet Bowl in 1982 time.
I was going to ask you if that was a game you could recollect. You got this Venus flytrap memory, Brett. I swear. I don't know how none of this stuff ever leaves you. You can tell me the quarterback. You can tell me
28-24 Razorbacks.
See, and that's why they call you. That's why you earn the nickname Stats, man. Right. Stuff like that.
Florida was good that year. They had Wilbur Marshall, went on to star for the Chicago Bears. The Razorbacks had Brad Taylor at quarterback. Florida had Wayne Peace at quarterback. And that week at bowl parties, Arkansas had a linebacker from Fort Smith, Raven Caldwell, that got in and was at the rodeo, and he injured one of the bulls at the rodeo in Houston that week. Raven Caldwell was a bad dude.
Golly, can you imagine that happening today, where you have these different events that guys got to go off to? It is just wild how things were back in the day, and no one really thought the other way. It was just let me tell you something. If I had my druthers to go back and relive through a certain era, I would probably want to be a kid in like the 80s or 90s. Like growing up in the 2000s was just okay,
Buckle up.
Brian.
I tell you.
It would have been. I mean, it just sounds like you guys had so much more, especially in college. Like, golly, no social media. You don't have to worry about anything.
Oh, that's a good point,
man.
And Ty, I think every generation kind of thinks. So I heard my friends around Far City. They were adults to me, but I was friends with some of them. They were there in 62, 63, 64, 65 during heyday years in football. But one thing that we did get at Fayetteville, we got football and basketball. Now they get football, basketball, and baseball. And another big thing, one of the big changes, and it's everywhere, is whether you went to Alabama in the 70s or 80s, or you went to Auburn, or you went to Ole Miss, or you went to Fayetteville, the enrollments were not to the large numbers they are now. And I didn't know everybody, but darn it felt like I did.
Well, based on the people that you mentioned on campus and talk about today, it still seems like you do. I'm lucky where I've got friends all over, Brett. I've got friends that live in Madison, Wisconsin, out in California, New York. They're Arkansas kind of branched out, and it's been fun to go visit them in various aspects. Arkansas has now got an enrollment of over 30,000 kids. I don't know what
incredible. So we were 8,000 or 9,000 max.
Isn't that crazy?
And I felt like I knew everybody on campus, and I badly wanted to. I wanted to cast a wide net, and I had an older friend. I was a freshman. He was a senior, and he told me, he said, meet and know everybody on campus the best you can.
Yeah, that's a great advice. Brett, how many years apart are we? 30-something? And I feel like I'm talking to someone my age, and hopefully you feel the same way when we speak. You have that knack and ability. Brian, you got a lucky co-host.
Oh, yeah.
You got lucky with your co-host. I'll tell you that.
Johnny Hill, that's working with us and will be more prominent working with us going forward. I told him the other day, I look at us as contemporaries. We are peers. Don't think of. I know I am an old man, but look at me on. We're on equal footing. All right, with that, so we know how excited people are about basketball. The big win over Purdue. Ty, and it was not fandom. It's what I believe. We did Final Four picks. I have picked Arkansas to win it all.
Let's go! Oh gosh, if that happened, I don't think I'd be able to wake up that next day.
30-year anniversary.
It is, and they're going to honor the basketball team with some jerseys. Giving away like 3,094 jerseys on Monday. I guarantee you they'll do some big hoopla before the Duke game on November the 29th. It's Wednesday, ESPN 8:15. Guys, and Brett, I know you were joking with me about this in the summer, but there might not be, and this is not just my Arkansas fan, I'm dead serious, there might not be a more difficult ticket in college basketball to get this season than that game in Bud Walton Arena that night. The atmosphere, and I know there's people listening and that have never been. Like, I've been to the Forum, maybe you've been to the Tad Pad, or you've been to the new, and I'm forgetting the new facility down there in Oxford.
Pavilion.
The Pavilion. And maybe there's other venues. You've been to the Humped Up, or you've been to the Coleman Coliseum. I'm telling you, if you get an opportunity at any point, if you're an SEC fan listener or just a basketball fan, you've got to see a marquee game in that arena, and I guarantee you your life will be changed when it comes to college basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of that game against Purdue, the energy was incredible watching that game on Saturday in Bud Walton. But what was your biggest takeaway from this Arkansas team, seeing them go up against a team that a lot of people have in their top 4, top 5 preseason polls in Purdue?
Well, I'm going to stay with the name that a lot of fans listening right now know. That's Chandler Lawson.
Yeah.
So here's a kid that played 2 years at Memphis, 2 years at Oregon, and is going to like to spend his final year in Fayetteville. And I'm going to be honest, guys, I didn't think he was going to play a lick this year. Not only does he start against maybe the toughest cover in all of college basketball, but he limits him to like 15-9.
Yeah.
He averaged 22 and 13 last year. They had 5 starters back, 6 of their top 7 scorers. They shot under 40%. Chandler Lawson had 10 points, 3 steals, and 3 blocks. He, to me, was the player that stood out the most, not just on Arkansas, but anywhere on the floor. Guy has like a 7'6" wingspan, fellas. You just don't see that in college basketball.
No, you don't, and that's one thing Penny Hardaway last year always raved about with Chandler Lawson was defensively, he's going to be the most sound out there. He's going to be the leader defensively, and so like you said, you didn't think he would play much. 33 minutes in that exhibition game against Purdue. That's pretty good. That means you earn those minutes on a team as loaded as Arkansas.
Yeah, and Brian, with him and Trevin Brazil, Trevin's 6'10", Chandler's like 6'8", but they're both small and lanky and athletic. They're not the most imposing front line, but they're really difficult to cover on the other end because they can both shoot it and can both get to the rim. Arkansas, I wouldn't necessarily it's going to be as like physically imposing as they've been in some years, but they do have just so much athleticism and still some length. It's going to be a fun team to watch, and those battles in Lexington, the battle in Coleman Coliseum at the end of the year, Tennessee comes to town, Auburn. I mean, there's just going to be some great SEC battles this fall or this.
All right, real quickly, Ty, tell me when you go, if you could pick out a number of your favorite player from that '94 team, what number would it be, and what player would it be?
I like shooters. I'm going to go Dillard. I mean,
you taking number 30 then? Only hit the most important shot in Razorback history.
Yeah, he just. I mean, Scotty's hard to beat too. They're just.
So you went Al Dillard, not Scotty Thurman. Okay.
Yes, I was Al Dillard.
I got you.
It's real. Scotty's a great one too. I like the spark plug off the bench. I've always enjoyed a player that thrives in that role. And he was a kid, again, overlooked because of his height and just could shoot it from anywhere on the floor. So that would be kind of an unorthodox answer, Brett, but I would say
I like it. Well, my heart would be my friend John Insco. He only scored 28 points in his career. He wore uniform number 13, but he worked his ass off, and he made that national championship team and that national runner-up team a better team. And I love him so much, and we're very, very, very close friends. But I would go with Big Nasty, 34, greatest player in Razorback history, in my opinion.
Corliss, you saw it in high school. I mean, when those guys battled in Pine Bluff, him and Jason Kidd, Corliss blocked a shot at the buzzer, won the Keaton Con Classic. I mean, he's different. And, even in middle school when Nolan Richardson was like, who's this kid? And got introduced to his mom and him. That's just I always appreciate it. I'm sure Memphis fans feel the same way, and every other fan of an SEC team listening. When you have a kid grow up in your own backyard and you see them flourish like Corliss did back in the day, not that you don't love kids from out of state, but there's just that little extra that you really appreciate about kids that grow up within your own state.
Absolutely. Well, Ty, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy Gainesville this weekend, and we'll do it again next Friday.
Guys, looking forward to it. Appreciate you having me on as always.
Thanks, Ty.
Thank you, Ty. Appreciate it very much. All right, let's get to bingo. Are you ready?
Right. I'm ready. You want to start or you want me to?
I'll start. The Michigan story. It's going to dominate.
Man, good one. Good call.
Second one for me, Mike Gundy, and how he's been running hot since the Big 12, really almost the dissolution, certainly with Texas and Oklahoma leaving, the final bedlam. Third one for me will be Dabo and what happened with Tyler from Spartanburg. Yeah. Is that the right hometown?
I believe so. Yes, Spartanburg.
And number 4, NFL on Sunday. Get ready on the Twitter X machine. If they lose, Magic Johnson on Twitter calls for a coaching change in Old D.C.
Oh, that's a great one. Wow, that's a good one. Okay, I've got 2 college, 2 NFL. I'll start with my college. Tomorrow morning on game day, he did it the first time they were in Tuscaloosa. Pat McAfee stands on a chair and gets the students going to roll wave.
Topless?
You never know. I mean, certainly.
Bottomless?
Probably,
no. G-rated show. No.
My second one for college, an all-time classic for the final Bedlam game as we know it. I think it's going to be an incredible one that people say we cannot lose this rivalry. My 2 for the NFL, daylight savings time combined with an 8:30 a.m. kickoff is going to cause madness on social media for people trying to watch that game. My final one, no matter what the final score is, no matter if they win or if they lose, you're going to see a lot of Cowboys overreactions. If they win, they're the best team in the NFL.
My Cowboys.
My Cowboys, too. I'll be calling them the best team in the NFL, Brett. But if they lose, people will be
Your
saying...
Cowboys.
Exactly. And people will be saying they can't win the big ones after losing to San Francisco a couple weeks ago. So it should be a fun weekend. Those are our bingo cards for this weekend, but we got to get to a break. When we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Hi, folks. Bob Burkheimer, the Chevy Sheriff for Sunrise Chevy. The Sunrise Chevy Ranch has over 500 new vehicles available with interest low as 0% and rebates up to $4,000. A $10 million used car inventory specializing in late model GM certified and cars and trucks under $10,000. Bad credit, bankrupt, slow pay, it's okay. Sunrise gets you financed when no one else can. Check out the inventory and apply online at sunrisememphis.com or call us on the phone. Come in and see us, go online or call. Any way you do it, we'll save you money at the Sunrise Chevy Ranch, partner. 385 South Houston Levy in Collierville.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Roofing and siding, gutters too. We're the pros you can trust to get it done right. Call on us. 5-Ash Roofing, the name to know. 5-Ash Roofing, the only way to go. 5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. 5-Ash Roofing.
Is that not the corniest thing you've ever heard? Can you believe I paid good money for that silly jingle? Well, the experts say make it memorable, and I think I got my money's worth. 5-Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5-Ash Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRIEND to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
A good friend of mine told me about this awesome place for lunch.
Oh, yeah? What's the name?
Neil's Grill and Bar, where the fat man rocks. Everybody knows Neil.
Where's it located?
It's located in Yorkshire Square off of Quince.
And what's it like?
The best lunch place in Memphis. You know, like real mashed potatoes and gravy. Everything is made from scratch. Monday through Friday, daily lunch specials like Monday baked chicken, Italian Tuesday, spaghetti, ravioli, Italian spinach, delicious fried catfish, fried chicken livers every Wednesday, Friday, Salisbury steak, barbecue chicken, or if you just want a vegetable plate, the best veggies in town.
What about the lunch price?
Meat and 2 veggies, $8.95. Meat and 3 veggies, $10.95. And veggie plate, $9.95. Big fat boy portions, man.
Man, you're making me hungry.
Come hear the best live local music at Neil's. Eddie Smith plays Sundays 5 to 9, Mondays karaoke, Tuesdays Debbie Jameson, Wednesdays Elmo and the Shades, Thursdays John Williams and the A440 Band at Neil's.
Where the fat man rocks.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand.
It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
All right, Brett, well, I'm going to the NBA for my big number of the day today. Last night, the Spurs were in Phoenix for another game against the Suns. They played them earlier in the week, and the Spurs won on a last-minute couple of plays that were able to give them the win. But my big number today is 5. Last night, Victor Wembanyama had by far his best game of his young NBA career. He led the Spurs in 5 different categories: points with 38, rebounds with 10, blocks with 2, three-pointers made with 3, and plus-minus with a plus 21. He's the first teenager in NBA history to lead his team in all 5 categories in the same game.
And you saw the respect post-game. Kevin Durant right to him, and how Wembanyama towers over Kevin Durant. That's the imposing size of him. And Durant goes to him, and you couldn't. I didn't know what he said, but you could tell it was like, much respect, my man. You got a place for a long time in this league. I texted Keith Smith. I said, Keith, you can always say you were there on the night he laid down that first marker of greatness.
Yes, and my favorite thing was earlier this week when they played the first time, Kevin Durant was asked, Victor Wembanyama says that you're one of his favorite players to watch when he was younger. What does that mean to you? And his response was, means I'm getting old, which is a hilarious response. It's true. I mean, Kevin Durant's getting on up there, but a remarkable showing for Victor last night.
I want to get into this more maybe next week. There have been very few people, we've kind of heard of, they're out there. Yeah. LeBron did it. Mm-hmm. Tiger Woods did it.
Yes.
Kobe did it. Peyton Manning did it from kind of, younger young men, 13, 14, 15, 16 years. Heard about Tiger from 2 years on, 2 years old on. Hard to live up to that. So far, so good for Wemby.
Yeah,
and he looks like he's going to join that list of people that we heard was going to be this great. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of people that didn't end up like that. My big number, it could be a couple. It could be 12, as in 12 years ago, the game of the century, the game of all time in Tuscaloosa between LSU and Alabama. But I'm going to go with the total points of that game, and I think it's a reflection of how the game has changed. Total points scored that night, 15. 9-6 LSU.
Wow.
No chance you're going to see it. Well, we did see 7-3 Mississippi State LSU, Mississippi State Arkansas in a high level game. You're not seeing any 9-6 games anymore.
Not at all. That should be a great one this weekend. I didn't even realize, I don't think until today, that we've got the SEC doubleheader this weekend on CBS with that Missouri and Georgia game, and then going into the LSU-Alabama game. So that should be a lot of fun. Well, we need to get to a break, but before we do that, the weekend, it's here, and I know I'm looking for a night out. I know a lot of other people are looking for one as well. So let me point you into the direction of 117 Prime. Located at 117 Union Avenue, opening 4 p.m. daily. 117 Prime offers perfect steaks cooked to your liking over hickory wood for the best flavor in town. And that meat, it's regionally sourced for the best taste, so you don't have to worry about it traveling cross-country like at some of these other steakhouses. Pair your steak with a wine from their award-winning wine menu, or switch it up with the wine of the month. Not a fan of beef? No problem. 117 Prime also offers outstanding seafood like oyster, shrimp, and lobster. Also, get down there right now and you can enjoy their happy hour from 4 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday, for the best happy hour that downtown Memphis has to offer. To make reservations, head over to 117prime.com or give them a call, 901-433-9851. That's 901-433-9851 for 117 Prime. Well, we need to wrap up this hour and get to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk Tiger basketball with Jason Munz. The breaking news came out earlier today that the NCAA has denied DeAndre Williams an extra season of eligibility. So we'll get to all of that next with Jason Munz.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry, and they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Bartlett Small Engine has free pickup and delivery both at your home and curbside for lawnmowers, blowers, edgers, and any small engine. Call 901-386-9779.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 120 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. to watch the playoff games and to watch all the basketball. It's so easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
Roofs, roofs, and more roofs. Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair simply because they don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance claims for policyholders each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. Call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates, consultation, and claim repairs. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, diagnosing problems, and estimating is second to none, commercial and residential. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. All you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and Mulehide with labor warranties up to 50 years on all of our jobs. Metro Builders provides roof repairs across the Mid-South. Call Metro Builders to schedule your inspection free. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything! A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold, silver, and much more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. A possible accident south of Memphis. It's going to be down in DeSoto County, just south of South Haven, affecting traffic both north and southbound on 55. Again, just south of South Haven, down in DeSoto County this afternoon. I see a slowdown starting to develop, especially southbound. That's really crawling. 55 southbound over here at 3rd. TDOT continues to clean up some type of debris. It's been out there for several hours. Weimer's Jewelry, located 7525 Highway 64, is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Oh, yeah. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn, Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
And it begins today with Jason Munns on the Tiger basketball beat for the Commercial Appeal and doing a job just tradition filled at the Commercial Appeal of beat writer extraordinaire through the years, one after another, with all the people that have been on the Tiger beat. This market expects it, and it gets it from Jason Munns at the Commercial Appeal, and we're so pleased to have him with us every Friday now through the end of the year, and we hope that end of the year is well into April even, and maybe a trip to Phoenix. And Jason Munns, presented to you every Friday by Jim's Place Grill. Jim's Place Grill, they've been here longer than Tigers basketball. Over 100 years of charcoal grill steaks, over 100 years of celebrations and good times and family time and lasting memories, whether in the bar area or the dining area, the bar area where you can watch Tiger basketball. Watch the Grizzlies, watch college football, and enjoy it with your friends, the Terrace family, with their touch for our community, a part of the fabric of it. Recipes that date back to the beginning in downtown to now in Collierville at the railroad tracks, at Poplar and Houston Levee. Online at jimsplacegrill.com. Don't forget the E in Grill. Every steak grilled perfectly over an open flame. Come to Jim's Place and taste and see the difference. And for your holiday party, for your holiday office get-together, book now. Book now at Jim's Place, because you will have the perfect celebration for that office get-together. Since 1921, a Memphis landmark, hard work, values, and a dedication to their diners, the Terrace family. They create a memorable dining experience. The lunch menu, the staples like the souffle ma, the shrimp cocktail, crab cakes, and those salad dressings, all homemade. And then at dinner, the calamari, soup, seafood, and the steaks, fillets, ribeyes, and strips, and that fantastic bar area, all at Jim's Place Grill in Collierville. And Jason Munns joins us now, presented by Jim's Place Grill, and Jason Munns with the story of the day, the story of the year so far in Tiger basketball. And it's bad news from the NCAA, Jason, but you broke it. Tell our listeners everything you can report, and thank you so much for being with us.
I couldn't be happier to be with you. I know it's the timing is the timing of this news is both good and bad. It is breaking news, but it's, as you said, it's not super happy news for Memphis basketball fans. But yeah, got word just a little bit ago that the NCAA has, for a third time, and they finally put a pin in this 6 months long. We've been waiting. Going on, I think a week from today, it'll be exactly 6 months since DeAndre Williams came out and said, if I can get another year at Memphis, I will absolutely pursue every avenue I possibly can to do that. But the NCAA put a pin in that today, finally. They have denied, for the third time, as I said, they have denied every appeal. The university has exhausted every option it has at its disposal. And DeAndre Williams, as we sit here today, DeAndre, I can't speak for DeAndre Williams. Will not be a Tiger this coming up season. I can't.
No means no this time, doesn't it?
Yeah, I can't speak for what legal wranglings that might be a part of this thing, but the season starts Monday. I cannot imagine a scenario where anything involving a legal, anything that takes this into the legal realm, getting cleared up before the season begins. So, before the season is over. I did ask Don Jackson, the sports attorney who everybody remembers helped Penny Hardaway through the IARP thing, and all those sorts of things. He's been heavily involved in this, trying to get DeAndre an extra season of eligibility. I asked him last week. What is today? No, earlier this week. I spoke with him just a few days ago. At the time, it was off the record, but I spoke with him, and I asked him point blank. I said, if this doesn't work out, is there anything that you can do from a legal perspective or are planning to do, on your end that might, change things? And he said, he goes, I'm not going to talk about anything like that until the administrative process is complete. But I have not gotten a response today from him. Beyond him telling me what the NCAA, the NCAA's rationale, they basically said, for denying DeAndre's waiver, they basically said that the people that Memphis and Don Jackson said misadvised, gave DeAndre bad advice all those years ago, weren't good enough. It wasn't good enough. The people that he was getting bad advice from weren't people that student athlete. They're not authorized to give student athletes advice on eligibility matters, and essentially the NCAA is saying that DeAndre Williams should have known that, and so that's they're saying that's no excuse, and there you have it. It brings this 6-month ordeal, this saga, to a close, and now we can move on.
Well, I know this is bad news, and I know everyone wanted DeAndre to be on this team. I think everyone can agree this team is better with DeAndre on the floor and in that locker room. But is there some sort of positivity you could take away from it that they got the news back before the regular season started, and that this cloud wasn't hanging over this team of will he, won't he into the season?
Yes, I would say that unequivocally, that the fact that this is now, again, a fine, like we can stop talking about it now. Because I do think that it could have become a serious distraction if it lingered into the season. I think it probably was a little bit of a distraction, honestly, like up until now. Now I think the fact that this is a much older, more experienced veteran team helped that. They've been through the mill before, and they know how to focus and how to buckle down and block out the distractions and all that stuff. So I don't think it really affected them too much. But I do feel like once the season started, if this was still pending, it could have been a very big distraction. And so for that reason, I would say that it is that's kind of a silver lining.
It is.
Getting this knocked out.
It is,
now.
Jason. Coach Hardaway can go to his team and go, man, this is our team. Look around this room. This is our team. There's no other players can be dropped in here that can or can't hurt us. This is us. This is this.
Yep. And the other part of that, kind of related to that, is, now that we know that it's over and he's not going to be part of the team, I think it was a fantastic idea. And we learned last night that it was actually DeAndre's idea to not, he could have been with the team for the last 6 months. He could have been practicing with the team. He could have been part of the team. NCAA rules would have allowed, while this was outstanding, for him to be practicing, to be lifting weights, to be going to these NIL events. He could have been, I don't know about the NIL part, but he could have been practicing with the team, and he decided he didn't want to do that. And I think it's a very good thing. I mean, you're talking about going 6 months practicing with this guy, bonding with this guy, building an identity with this guy behind the scenes, and then 3 days before the season starts, he's got to go away.
Mm-hmm.
That could be devastating.
That could have been a really, really big problem. And the fact that DeAndre chose to not insert himself, knowing that this was a potential outcome, I think was very smart.
Jason, you have been breaking news everywhere. I thought Sunday afternoon the news, and I loved it. And I don't think it was anything inflammatory or hot takey at all. But you reported about Coach Hardaway talking about this 13-game non-conference schedule. My words, not his. He didn't say this, but it's everything. It's very important. I think it's just master of the obvious. I don't think it was him setting a bar unapproachably high for his own team. And with that, those 13 games, we know what anything north of 10-3, 11-2 would do. That would cement a seed, I think, 3, 4, 5 at worst. The conference portion of the schedule is going to drag it down no matter what. But even at 9 or 10, that's still a 5 or 6 type seed team. If the Tigers go 9-4, 9, and then 15-3 in con, that's 24 wins. That's about a 5, 6, 7 seed, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And that's not counting, as we learned this past season, it doesn't really too much matter what you do in the conference tournament. So we should, I'm stopping myself from saying, yeah. And that's before you even get to the conference tournament. But again, as you saw, Memphis go out and beat the number one team in the country to win the title, and it doesn't get them off the 8-9 line. But yeah, like I firmly believe. I mean, now you got to not lose in the like if you're talking about 3 losses in conference, one of them can't come to UTSA, which is arguably one of the, say, 25 worst teams in the country, or they're expected to be.
Who can they beat to? Who could 3 be, not twice to FAU, so once to FAU, who are the other 2?
I predict, I actually put this in my bold predictions, that they're going to lose 2 games in conference. Neither one of them is going to beat FAU. I think one is going to be at Tulane. They always play terrible at Tulane.
We can live with that.
Not always, but you know what I mean.
It's always competitive.
It's a tough place for them to go down and play. And then at East Carolina. I think East Carolina is going to be sneaky this year. And that's another place that in recent years, Memphis hasn't had a ton of success. Or it just hasn't been easy. I'll just put it that way. It hasn't been very easy, and I think East Carolina is better this year. I think they were picked to finish 5th this year in the league by the coaches, somewhere around there, if memory serves. So I think that they can, you know, again, like lose to FAU, you're fine. But I think they can also stomach losses to teams like, especially road games, Tulane and East Carolina. Outside of that, you know, like you pretty much got to win them, the rest of them. I don't think North Texas is going to be what they were last year. They lost their coach. I think they might have one player, one of their better players back. And I don't think they brought in a ton of like big names. UAB, you know, was a quality team last year. But I'm not so sure, you know, like I think Memphis should beat them. Memphis should beat UAB. They shouldn't lose to UAB. But I feel like, you know, Tulane was picked to finish 3rd. They've got Jalen Forbes back. They've got Kevin Cross back. It's on the road. Ron Hunter's a very good coach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can shoulder that one. But it's the ones like Rice and Charlotte, UTSA, Tulsa, those are the ones that you really got to avoid.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking to Jason Munz from the Commercial Appeal, the Tigers basketball beat writer, presented every week by Jim's Place Grill in Collierville. What were some of your biggest takeaways from these 2 exhibition games for the Tigers?
They're going to score a lot of points, I think. They're going to be very difficult to stop on offense. The Tiger basketball SID mentioned to me yesterday after yesterday's game that exhibition or not, this is the first time since 2004 that Memphis has scored 100 points in back-to-back games.
Wow.
Exhibition or not, and they've played back-to-back exhibitions.
40-minute games. That's hard to do.
Yeah, and they've done it. So I think they're going to score a lot of points. That's a big takeaway. I think it didn't look so much like it yesterday during last night's game, but I was so struck in the game against Lane College just how, like, it was palpable, the difference in this season's team and just how it carries itself. Like, the way I explained it to somebody on the staff was you could feel the confidence just sort of emanating from the team. And the key here is it wasn't a manufactured confidence. Like, you felt like in years past with guys, you know, I don't want to name names, but like the younger teams, you felt like that was sort of like almost like a put on, like they were playing a character. Like they had.
I gotta say this,
they had confidence, but this was different. Like this was a little bit different. Like they, you know, when the ball went up, they knew exactly what they needed to do. It was a little, again, against Lemoyne last night, it was a little bit, it didn't quite, measure up to the way it felt in the first game. But that's another takeaway. I think this team has they're very professional, and a lot of that's because they're very experienced and veteran. But I think that's going to serve them well as well.
And a week from today, you will be in Columbia, Missouri for the Mizzou game. That's a big one. And then right after that, 2 weeks after that, you're going to be in the Bahamas. And for you, Jason, I know every sports writer I've ever talked to, I just want to cover a good story. When that introduction I gave, and I meant it as sincerely as I've ever said anything, you have kept that tradition alive of the commercial appeal beat person, giving us all this information. We come to you. We come to he or she, and it's been, and Lynn Zinser was the she that was so good at doing it a lot of years. The role you have. You have to tell the story that the city is waiting on.
Well, first of all, I appreciated very much the really nice, kind words. But yeah, that's one of the things that I really strive to maintain is a kind of the pulse of the audience of the fan base.
Because all of us can't go to the Bahamas.
Yeah. Well, it makes it easy. You know what? Social media, for all its drawbacks, shall we say, it makes it easier to sort of keep an eye on what people are talking about and what people want to know about, and what people, what gets people excited. And at the commercial appeal, they've given me this. I think I've had it for a little more than a year now, but it's like a text message service where people can sign up to get text messages from me directly to their phone, and they can respond to me. They can talk to me, I can talk to them, and I use that. I lean on that pretty heavily for crowdsourcing and stuff like that, and keeping, like I said, keeping the finger on the pulse of what people want, and yeah, I strive to make sure that all the bases are covered and everybody's getting what they want.
What's the one game you have circled, and is that game even on the schedule yet? Could it be a Thanksgiving afternoon game against Eric Musselman and the Razorbacks? What game do you have circled of, man, I can't wait to be there? Or is it Monday night against Jackson State? It very well could be, but which one big one do you really looking forward to?
Well, you hit it. If the chips can fall the right way and they can get Arkansas on Thanksgiving
Please
Day,
fall right.
That's the one. That is easy. That is.
First of all, that means you've defeated the Michigan Wolverines.
Yeah. Right.
That's pretty big stuff.
I was looking at this the other day. I didn't realize it. As when the field was announced for the Battle for Atlantis, they got Stanford in there, and they got Texas Tech, and we all know they had a really down year last year. Mm-hmm. And it's a really good field. When it comes out that you're thinking to yourself, it's a really good field. Michigan and Arkansas and North Carolina and Villanova, but the other ones, cross your fingers you don't have to play them. Yeah. I was looking at it the other day, the preseason KenPom ratings, 7 of the 8 teams that are going to be there, obviously that includes Memphis, but 6 of the 7 possible other teams outside of Memphis who are there are top 50 preseason KenPom.
Wow.
That includes Texas Tech and Stanford and Michigan. Northern Iowa is the only one, and they're 98th, so they're top 100.
Yeah.
Obviously Memphis is 32, but it's a really strong field. The odds of Memphis, win or lose, playing some really good resume games are very high in the Bahamas. But outside of that, obviously they might not get Arkansas, but I would say of games that are, that we know they're going to play, Texas A&M is a big one, and Virginia coming to FedEx Forum. That should be a really, really fun.
And that coach,
yeah.
Oh yeah. No, Tony Bennett. Tony Bennett's one of the best, and so that should be a. Oh, and then of course, I mean, I don't want to leave out Ole Miss. Like that's going to be their first time there since the fans were raining down overrated chants on Amani Bates and Penny Hardaway after the game was just like it was after that game that the stuff that was being whispered about behind the scenes about disharmony and bad chemistry and locker room problems finally came to the forefront, and people, everybody was on alert at that point. So getting a chance to go back there is I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, there's plenty of good ones. Last thing for you, Jason, before we let you go, Javon Quinterly made his Tiger debut last night in the exhibition game. He was warming up with a knee brace on. Looked like he might have tweaked that knee again towards the end of the exhibition last night. Where does he stand in terms of health in that knee?
Penny said multiple times. He said it's like TV media, print media, that he should be fine. He said it's on radio after he talked to us. He said the same, pretty much the same exact thing. Just that the game there was only 9 minutes left and they were up big and there was no reason to keep him in there.
Yeah.
And he said he asked Javon how he felt after the game. He said he felt fine. So I think he's going to be fine. Now, the other part that I think is kind of interesting, he didn't say it to us, but he said it on radio, is that he might switch up the starting lineup for Jackson State. Said he wants to get more energy in the starting five. He wouldn't really say just yet, like what that might look like, but I don't know. I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued to see who moves out and who moves in.
Well, I know in that interview with Dave Woloshin, he was kind of pushing towards maybe Nick Jourdain. Do you think he could be a guy that could jump into that starting lineup?
Oh yeah, I mean, like Nick to me has 6th man of the year potential in the conference.
Wow.
Like I actually had a piece that published today where I talked to the strength coach, Tiger strength coach Darby Rich. He basically gave me his scouting report from a strength and conditioning standpoint on each player. He broke it down each player, and the one of the things that he said about Nick Jourdain is he is by far, from a measurable standpoint, he's the most athletic guy on the team. He jumps higher, he runs faster than anybody, and he plays extremely hard. And you put 2 and 2 together. Penny's talking about he wants more energy in the starting lineup. Well, that kind of sounds like Nick Jourdain. So I wonder who would come off the bench then. I don't think it's going to be Jordan Brown. I don't think it's going to be David Jones. I feel like it's not going to be Jaquan Walton. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun Monday night when the Tigers officially kick off the regular season. But Jason, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll do it again next Friday.
I can't wait. Thank you all.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you so much.
Jason Munz from the Commercial Appeal, the Tiger basketball beat writer. And head over to the Commercial Appeal because, like he said, he has a story with the strength coach going player by player. He has all of the up-to-date breaking news on DeAndre's situation and that ruling. So a lot coming out from Jason Munz today over at the Commercial Appeal. But I got to tell you about Hewlett and Dunn. They're with us every afternoon in our 5 o'clock hour. Hewlett and Dunn, boot and jean on the historic square in Collierville since 1961. Charles Hall, he started working there in his teens, and now with his wife Laura, they own the place, known for all the boots, but also clothing, accessories, and a cap for any team in any season. Western wear, work boots, safety toe, soft toe, even rubber boots for absolutely every occasion at Hewlett and Dunn. And from head to toe, they have you covered with every brand imaginable, like Ariat, Dan Post, Anderson Bean, whether for men or women's. And they've got clothing options too, like jeans, pants, shirts, shorts, outerwear, and the best duck head collection you'll find. Charles and Laura Hall invite you to 111 North Center Street on the square in Collierville or to their website, hewlettdunn.com. They've also got you covered with accessories like hats, sunglasses, boot care products in every area, team snapback, and cool hat you can think of. We're to that point of the year where we've got the overlap of college football and college basketball, so head over there for Tigers, Mississippi State, UT, Ole Miss, Razorbacks. They've got a cap for all of the area teams. And for travel, their bag selection is top-notch. HewlettDunn.com, but please head out to Collierville and give them a visit and say hello at 111 North Center Street on the square in Collierville at Hewlett and Dunn. Let's get to a break, and when we come back, it'll be time for our First National Bank and Trust Friday football forecast.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Prepare for the colder temperatures on the way and make sure your HVAC continues to operate at peak efficiency by scheduling a $69 heating system tune-up now with the pros at Conway Services. A heating system tune-up can save you money and help prevent costly breakdowns. Visit conwayservices.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 64210, 64365 EAS, MS 19668.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
If you haven't experienced Genesis Diamonds yet, your moment has arrived. Next weekend, November 10th through 12th, Genesis is putting everything on sale. Save 20, 30, even 35%. Rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, engagement rings. World-class designers will be here too, showcasing fashion jewelry never seen here before. All on sale. Luxury pre-owned Rolex watches and all lab-grown diamonds are also included. Don't miss this spectacular store-wide sale. Next weekend, November 10th, 11th, and 12th at Genesis Diamonds, Poplar and Perkins Extended. See store for details.
Basketball's back, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is celebrating with an unbeatable offer. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets for throwing down $5 on the NBA. And with DraftKings parlays, everybody's got a shot at even bigger basketball wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, code HERD, H-E-R-D. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with a code HERD, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. Licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, and Louisiana. 21 plus. Age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Pizza lovers and sports fanatics, Ferraro's Pizzeria is your Sunday ticket headquarters. Catch every pro game on multiple big screen TVs while enjoying $2 beers, $9 beer buckets, and mouth-watering pizza. We're talking the cheesiest, most delicious New York pizzas in town with all your favorite toppings. What are you waiting for? Grab your family and friends and get to Ferraro's, corner of Jackson and Main, just east of the Pyramid. Enjoy every pro game at Ferraro's Pizzeria and Cheesy Corner, your game day destination.
Friday football forecast from First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. Real estate isn't something you purchase or develop or desire. It's something you appreciate, respect, and know. With real estate, there's no gray area. You either know it or you don't. First National Bank and Trust, a proud division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. They've known it since their beginning in 1886. Clients depend on First National Bank because they know real estate. Brooks Winchester, Bill Samish, and many more can assist you in your acquisition of that hunting land, farmland, a construction project. Let First National Bank and Trust make your dreams a reality. 775 Ridge Lake Boulevard, Suite 140 in Memphis, 901-498-5763, or the office in Collierville, or online at fnbtmemphis.com. For commercial real estate, residential construction, or recreational and agriculture financing, let First National Bank and Trust help you. They're a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, where I have had an account, been a friend, and been a customer my entire life.
They remember what you do in November. And November football gets started tomorrow, and the Sunday NFL schedule. Great. I said it earlier. I think this is the best college and pro combined schedule of the year. Just games everywhere from sun up to sunset, and even with the goofy time change on Sunday. But we sure appreciate First National Bank and Trust, now firmly ensconced in West Tennessee, a proud division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. Stable, secure, rock solid, reliable, and consistent, and the customer confidence in whether it's in West Tennessee or in Eastern Arkansas, it is extremely confident. Everybody I know that's ever dealt with them, whether a deposit relationship or a lending relationship, any relationship, just a CD or a passbook savings account, people have it through the years with First National Bank and Trust and First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. It gets started early tomorrow morning, the game where I will be. 11 o'clock on ESPN. Ole Miss, a 3.5-point favorite over the Texas Aggies. Lane Kiffin's 2-0 over Jimbo Fisher. Ole Miss with 3 500-yard receivers, Jordan Watkins, Trey Harris, and Dayton Wade. Ole Miss winners of 19 of the last 21 at home, but that A&M defense, they lead Power 5 with 75 tackles for loss and 33 sacks. And then in the return game, you got Anaya Smith, FBS active leader in punt return yards. Bryant Dacus, your pick on Ole Miss laying the 3.5 over Texas A&M.
Well, I like this number at 3.5 because I think there is a really, really, really good chance that Texas A&M can cover this game and Ole Miss still win. I think Texas A&M is going to keep it close or win this game. So for that reason, I'm going to take A&M plus the 3.5.
If it does all that, you know my blood pressure spiking will be very high.
And you don't want your blood pressure spiking that early in the morning, Brett.
Mine's not going to spike. Ole Miss wins. They cover the 3.5 easily. Ole Miss 35-21 over the Aggies. 11 o'clock on ESPN2 tomorrow morning. The Gators at home in the Swamp, 6.5-point favorite over the Razorbacks. Arkansas 1-10 against Florida in the SEC, over at the Swamp. These teams once played, as I said earlier, in the Astro Bluebonnet Bowl in 1982. The Razorbacks were really good that year. Florida, they've scored in 444 consecutive games dating back to 1988. That's an NCAA record, and 53 games longer than any team in the history of the sport to do that. 444 consecutive games that they've scratched. So Arkansas is not going to shut them out tomorrow, but can they beat them? 82 total touchdowns for KJ Jefferson in his career. 62 passing, 20 rushing. That's all-time number one for the Razorbacks. Easily tops Matt Jones. Arkansas, Florida, 6.5-point favorite over the Razorbacks. My pick, like your pick on Ole Miss, it's barely. It's Florida 21-13 over the Razorbacks, so I lay the 6.5.
Wow, I'm going to take Florida in this one minus the 6.5. Arkansas just hasn't shown me anything. I get real scared because, Brett, we talked about it, I think earlier this week or last week, of Arkansas. They have lost games, but they have kept these games really, really close, so that scares me. But down at the Swamp in Gainesville, I will give Florida the edge, and I will take a minus 6.5.
We are 10 and 11 in agreement this year on college picks. On NFL picks, we are 6-10. So that is, 7-10. So that's 17-21 on the year when we have group locks. At 2 o'clock tomorrow on ESPN Plus, Memphis minus 13 over South Florida. Memphis leads 7-4 all time in this series. Homecoming for the University of Memphis tomorrow. The Tigers have forced at least one turnover in 21 of the last 26 games. Total turnovers, takeaways in that span, 47. Blake Watson, he leads the team in rushing. He's second in receptions. Seth Hennigan, 14 300-yard passing games, most in program history. Again, kind of threading that needle like you did on Ole Miss, and I did on Florida, you as well on Florida. I'm going to take the Tigers to win 24-17, so give me that 13.5 in South Florida.
Wow. I'm going to take the Tigers in this one. I think you look back at South Florida's last 2 conference games. Yeah, they got the win last week against a really bad UConn team, but the last 2 conference games, it was really lopsided and not lopsided in their favor. I think coming back home, maybe that defense can shore up a little bit and look a little bit better, maybe have some confidence in front of the home fans and limit those missed tackles. So I think the Tigers win. I think they win big. I'll take a minus the 13.5.
Tomorrow night on CBS for the final time, LSU and Alabama. Bama, a 3.5-point favorite at Bryant-Denny Stadium. 6:45 the kick. Gary Danielson as analyst, Brad Nessler as play-by-play. These two staples of CBS through the years, with CBS on the SEC package, that 2011 game and that upset last year for LSU winning that game down at Tiger Stadium. Jaden Daniels, what he's done this year against an improving Jalen Milroe. Alabama, 3.5-point favorite. It's not close. Bama, 34-19 over LSU.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to take Alabama in this one. Kind of a difficult game, but I think at home for Bama, they've looked much improved as the season has gone on, and I think they have enough to win this one at home.
My college football lock, I stay in the Iron Bowl world. I go with Auburn laying the 12.5 at Vanderbilt. Auburn wins 24-7. Your college football lock.
For my lock, I'm going to take an AAC game. I'm going to go Tulsa minus 4.5 against Charlotte. Brett, you know how much I've talked about Charlotte this year. I really like Biff Poggi, and I think this team is fun to watch. They're not very good, but they're fun to watch. But their game last week ended with both starting quarterback and backup quarterback injured. It's not clear if either one of those guys will play. They might have to rely on their third-string quarterback, and 3 of their best defensive players were suspended after that game last week. So they're going to be super shorthanded. This is a defense that has looked good at times, but missing 3 of their best players, that's going to hurt them. And missing their starter and backup quarterback, they've struggled moving the ball this year. I think it could be a real ugly one tomorrow against Tulsa. So I'll take Tulsa minus 4.5.
And your college football shot.
For my shock, I'm going to go with Kansas plus the 3.5, which might be a dumb play by me after the upset against Oklahoma last week, but I'm going to take Kansas plus 3.5 over Iowa State.
5-3 Iowa State. Matt Campbell there against Lance Leipold at Kansas, and Kansas with the shocking upset last week straight up over Oklahoma. Sunday in the NFL. Oh, I'm sorry, my college football shock. I got to get that in. I'm going to stay in the SEC, and I'm going to go Jacksonville State plus 16.5.
Wow.
Straight up 21-20 in Columbia over Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks.
Things get ugly if that happens.
They sure could. Honeymoon's already over.
Yeah.
It's really over if that happens. Sunday morning, 8:30 on NFL Network. From Frankfort, Kansas City, 1.5-point favorite over Miami. Dolphins lead all-time 16-15. But it's 13-15 regular season, but 3-0 in the playoffs, including that famous Christmas afternoon night game in 1971 in the playoffs that went to sudden death. Miami won that one 27-24 at old Kansas City Municipal Stadium. They first played in 1966, both as members of the AFL. Give me the Dolphins plus the 1.5. They win the game 34-17.
Yeah, I'm also going to take the Dolphins in this one. I like what Alan Bell said, though, is the Dolphins have been really good at home. It's been a different story on the road. So in Frankfurt, in a different country, let's see what they can do early in the morning, but I'll take Miami.
More traditional starting time, noon on CBS. Baltimore minus 6.5 over Seattle. They first played December 7th, 1997. Starting quarterbacks that day. Warren Moon for Seattle against Eric Zier, the Georgia Bulldog, for the Baltimore Ravens. I did not have any memory of that till I looked it up this week. 3-3 all time. They hadn't played a lot, but Seattle, an underdog in Baltimore on Sunday. Seattle wins straight up 21-20 over Baltimore.
I'm with you on this one. I really like Seattle. It seems like that offense.
2 agreements.
Yeah, this isn't good, but I like the Seattle offense. It seems like they're really coming along. That defense with Devon Witherspoon in there now. I just like the Seattle team. I'll take them plus 6.5.
3:25 on Fox Sunday afternoon, the big one. Philadelphia minus 3.5 over Dallas. A lot will get sorted out in the NFC and in the NFC East. Dallas leads all time 73-55. They lead all time 3-1 in the postseason. That one postseason win for the Eagles was the 80 season, January of 1981 NFC Championship game, with Philadelphia winning and on their way to New Orleans for the Super Bowl with Ron Jaworski at quarterback against the Raiders. First played September 30th, 1960 at the Cotton Bowl Stadium. Quarterbacks that day, Norm Van Brocklin versus Eddie LeBaron. Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts do not look like Norm Van Brocklin and Eddie LeBaron.
No.
They've got more talent in their left pinky than Eddie LeBaron and Norm Van Brocklin had. Give me Philadelphia to win the game, 35-14 over your Cowboys.
I'm going against you. Cowboys win it straight up.
Sunday night football, NBC 7:20, Cincinnati minus 2.5 over Buffalo. Cincinnati 28-17 over the Bills.
Yeah, I'm also going to take Cincinnati. I just think they're the better team in this one, so give me Cincinnati minus 2.5.
Too much agreement. Give me your NFL lock and shock.
My lock this weekend is going to be the Colts minus 2.5 against the Panthers. I think this Colts team is not a bad team, so I'll take them as a slight favorite. For shock, I'm going to take the Bears plus 8.5 over the Saints. The Bears, I'm not sure who they're starting this weekend, but I'll take whoever it is over this Saints team, at least to cover it, plus 8.5.
My lock, Cleveland Browns minus 8.5 over Arizona with Deshaun Watson back in as starting quarterback. And my shock, Tampa Bay plus the 3.5 over Houston. Tampa Bay wins the game 19-13. That's been our Friday football forecast, brought to you every week by First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. For all your real estate needs, they've got you covered. Commercial, ag, hunting, recreational, you will be set. Contact them at fnbt.com or call 901-498-5763. But better yet, visit the offices on Ridge Lake or in Collierville.
Let's get to our final break of the day. When we come back, we'll wrap up today's show with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Roofs, and more roofs. Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair simply because they don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance claims for policyholders each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. Call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates, consultation, and claim repairs. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, diagnosing problems, and estimating is second to none, commercial and residential. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. All you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and Mulehide with labor warranties up to 50 years on all of our jobs. Metro Builders provides roof repairs across the Mid-South. Call Metro Builders to schedule your inspection free. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
When you're watching the Tigers play or whatever team you support, you always look for the end result, the winning score. And when you're thinking of selling your home, the ultimate goal line is the closing table. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors. Getting your home sold for what you want and when you want it makes everyone happy. You should talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers when you're thinking of selling your home, and make sure I'm one of them, especially if you want results. Most people have heard that when you want the job done, you need to call Sheldon. Call or email me today and find out about my highly successful strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option. You can reach me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. That's Sheldon Rosengarten. Call today at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. And go Tigers!
After a big dinner, my nighttime heartburn would keep me up. I'd be taking antacid after antacid all night long. But then I tried Prilosec OTC. Just one pill a day blocks my frequent heartburn for a full 24 hours, giving me one-and-done heartburn relief. Without heartburn keeping me up, I could have a restful night's sleep.
Prilosec OTC. One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Wow, I feel good. Shopping at DriveMax. 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 You get value.
Need a car that screams I feel good? DriveMax has it all. From cars to SUVs, find a tightly inspected used car that'll have you dancing all the way home. Call 901-664-2424 or visit DriveMaxApproval.com.
DriveMax. I got approved.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
So how you like me now? 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 How you like me now?
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, Brett, I learned 2 things today. The first, something we've kind of talked about over the last hour or so, but the news coming down from the NCAA that DeAndre Williams will not get an extra year of eligibility. This was the statement put out earlier this afternoon from Memphis Athletics after the news was released from the NCAA. We are extremely disappointed a waiver for an additional year of eligibility for DeAndre Williams was denied, which came following a request for reconsideration of the initial denial and then an appeal. We felt the evidence about academic misadvertisement prior to his initial college enrollment that was uncovered and provided to the NCAA was sufficient to grant a waiver, and we also strongly believe the depth of additional information shared with the NCAA on an ongoing basis would be on DeAndre's side. Unfortunately, after multiple months of back and forth, the NCAA arrived at a different conclusion. We appreciate DeAndre's contributions to our men's basketball program over the past 2.5 years, and he will always be a Memphis Tiger. Nevertheless, we are very much looking forward to an exciting season on the court for our men's basketball team. So, like I said, this wasn't just they put it in and they said no. This was multiple times trying to give new information, and it really, over the last month or two, in my mind, at least from what I had been hearing, from what had been put out, it really seemed like it was a far shot that DeAndre would be on this team this year. The second thing, real quick, that I learned, it sounds like Patrick Mahomes, when talking to reporters earlier today, says that he wants to play flag football in the 2028 Olympics. We talked a couple weeks ago about the NFL is kind of pushing their players, saying, go play in the Olympics. So sounds like Patrick Mahomes might be one of the first stars of the NFL to give out their involvement. They want to be a part of it.
That was a really classy statement by the university.
It was.
And at some point, you just can't. There's so many definitions of what is.
Sure.
I mean, you just can't reconfigure. What I learned, here comes the LSU is really number 2 in the SEC crowd if they beat Alabama.
Yeah.
Peter Burns, of course, down the middle, Big J journalist, shilling this morning on SEC Network. Booger McFarland with his LSU shirt yesterday on PTI. How did this many Tigers make it on TV? And all of them, all they are lacking are pom-poms.
They are, and we've heard it for a while, really, after, what was that next game after they lost to Ole Miss? It seemed like after that, they won that and got back on track, and it was, oh, man, LSU, second best in the SEC, So it's
we just ran out of
interesting.
time at Ole Miss.
Oh, yeah, exactly. If we had played another quarter, whatever.
Yeah.
What I could have done without the news coming down earlier today that Clayton Kershaw will have to undergo surgical. He actually underwent that surgery this morning on his shoulder, and he's expected to be out until some point in the summer 2024. For Clayton Kershaw, a tremendous career so far in MLB, but you're absolutely right. At 35 years of age, I think we're starting to see the downslope of his career, and certainly with a surgery like that doesn't help. So hopefully we see him back on the mound next season, but it looks like we might be seeing the last couple of years for him.
I could do without a lot in the Michigan story. I wish it wasn't. I wish it wasn't happening. I wish it was different. I like Jim Harbaugh a lot. And I had Michigan preseason in my college football forward. But isn't it interesting to hear Desmond Howard talking about, now is the time for deliberation.
Yeah.
Now is the time for due process. Now is the time to not do anything hackneyed or spur of the moment. The same Desmond Howard that wanted Nebraska kicked out immediately in 2020 in the COVID year for wanting to play football.
That's right. That's right.
He wanted them kicked out immediately. Now Desmond Howard, the voice of reason. Please.
The voice of reason. I love it. Where are you beaming this weekend?
You know where I'm beaming to, the Grove. Vaught-Hemingway Stadium, Ole Miss against Texas A&M. A win for Ole Miss sets up a monster matchup next week in Athens. But first, the Aggies, 9 o'clock with us pregame. Gary Darby, I'll be alongside Gary Darby at 11 o'clock. David Kellum on play-by-play, Harry Harrison as the analyst, and John Darnell on the sidelines on these airwaves.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun day tomorrow. I'm going to beam tonight to Portland, Oregon for the in-season tournament for the Memphis Grizzlies versus the Portland Trail Blazers, looking, like you said, for their first win of the season. But I'm also interested really all across the NBA to see what does this in-season tournament look like. We know the new courts for every team. It's worth trying, but what does it look like? What do we hear from the players? Because that's going to be the first question to all of these players after the game. Well, first game of the in-season tournament, what was it like out there? Well, what are their responses? Does it feel like a regular season game to them, or are they viewing this as group play for a tournament? It'll be really interesting to find out tonight. 7 games tonight in that in-season tournament. Grizzlies being one of them later tonight in Portland.
Grizzlies in Portland all weekend need some wins. Area college football all weekend. We'll be watching those top 10 CFP games. We'll be watching Kansas State at Texas tomorrow. Will we see Arch Manning if he has to play? Ohio State at Rutgers. Notre Dame at Clemson. The last Bedlam. Washington at the Coliseum against USC, Bama and LSU, A&M, Ole Miss. So much fun. And then Sunday, I'm really looking forward to Hurts versus Dak.
Yeah, that's going to be a great game, a 3:30 game to kind of lead you into that Bills and Bengals game for Sunday Night Football. That will be a really interesting game between two really good quarterbacks in the nightcap. So it's going to be a really, really fun weekend, a ton to watch. College football, NFL, you got NBA, and then on Monday we'll be talking college basketball as a lot of teams kick off their season on Monday.
First time in 7 months, no baseball this weekend.
Oh, yeah. You heard me. I almost said baseball, and then I had to remember we have no baseball. But before we get out of here, let me remind you about this weekend. Tomorrow morning, like Brett said, we'll have Ole Miss pregame against Texas A&M at 9 a.m. leading into that game. Sunday, Commanders at Patriots at noon, Colts Panthers at 3, Bills Bengals at 7. Monday night, we'll have Ole Miss basketball versus Alabama State at 6:30. That's all the time we have. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk again on Monday.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North